feel lucky?
Las Vegas is the place where anything can happen.
We are ready to go racing in Las Vegas.
Baby, let's go racing in Las Vegas, boys!
The forecast for Vegas is crazy.
Oh, this is going to be a huge wreck. These are race cars, baby.
And there's trouble on pit road.
Is that Kyle Busch in the middle there?
It's Kyle Busch in Laguna.
Welcome to Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Racing from Las Vegas, presented by Jiffy Lube. 37 cars behind the pace car and ready to roll in Las Vegas. Ryan Blaney won the pole, top 10 finishes his last 2 years here. Kevin Harvick coming off a dominating Atlanta win, that's row one. Kurt Busch trying to get his first win in his hometown, and Martin Truex Jr., last year's winner.
Let's talk to Kurt. What do you say? What do you think about that? Kurt Busch, DW here, man. You got me?
I got you, DW. Go on ahead.
All right, pal. Look, this track is in your backyard. Do you think today this could be your playground?
Well, I used to rule over at the little track, the little 3/8 mile, but this mile and a half has been tough on me over the years. But looking to conquer it today. Got a great 41 Haas automation, CNC machine Ford. Monster Energy, we're ready to do it, man. What do you say, D-Dub?
I'm all over it. How's the Billy Scott working out? New crew chief, doing good?
Yeah, Billy Sharp, got a great group of guys. Our pit crew's been nailing it on pit road. Just got to thank all the guys back at the shop. Thank you.
All right, one win here, and everything is forgotten. So stand on that thing, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Kurt Busch rolling off third. So there's your 37 starters. Let's get some late breaking stories from pit road. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Mike, phenomenal. Rocket in a class of his own, just playing with us. Some of the descriptions from other crew chiefs about Kevin Harvick's 4-car. Best ever Las Vegas start. P1 on a 10-lap run on sticker tires in final practice. It's all shaping up to be a great day. But Jamie Little, that's pre-race, and this is why we race.
Well, Jimmy Johnson's on the opposite end of the spectrum after failing inspection 3 times today. Not only did he lose his car chief today, he gave up the best starting spot he's had at 14th. He's in the back. He told me he must be patient and take what the car can give him. Don't try too hard like he did last week. He has an uphill climb, Vince Welch.
Well, for Martin Truex Jr., the mile-and-a-half tracks last year were his playground. Of his 8 wins, 7 came on tracks like this. In fact, he won this race a year ago en route to his dominating championship run. Well, how about today? What's the grand plan? No such thing, they tell me. Same old, just win. Larry Mack?
Vince, let's take a look at the race analysis here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway today. We're going to go 267 laps, 400 miles, stage 1 and 2, 80 laps, the final stage, 107 laps. Pay attention to this one, pit road speed, 45 miles per hour, the fuel window, 56 to 60 laps, and our grip level of this track on a 1 to 5 scale, right in the middle, a 3, Mike.
Thanks, Larry. Ross Chastain, Jimmy Johnson, both going to the rear, as you've heard. It's a beautiful day in Las Vegas. We had gusts to 40 miles an hour yesterday. Not so today. It's a gorgeous, sunny day. Temperature 55 now. It may get up towards 60 with a light breeze out of the northwest. Track temp of 35 degrees. Well, we listened in on our pole sitter, Ryan Blaney, as he rolled off in his Team Penske Ford.
All right, man, let's have some fun today. Nice job Friday. Got a good view of this thing. Try to keep it up front all day. Let us know what you need. Be there at the end. At 10-4. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. See you at the end. Thanks.
Mike, a little bit different today. The wind, remember yesterday and in practice, was when the wind was blowing down the back straightaway. You had a nice tailwind down the back straightaway. Today, solely opposite. Got a headwind down the back straightaway.
Yeah, if the teams were making any kind of adjustments based on that wind, that's going to definitely catch them out today.
Daniel Suarez wearing our Fox visor cam. I talked to him this morning. He says he loves having it. Remember when he had that big save a couple weeks ago where he really yanked the wheel back and forth at nearly 200 miles an hour? It didn't look that bad from the rooftop camera, but when he showed the visor cam to his crew chief, that got his attention.
Got him a raise.
Used to going a lot faster is three-time NHRA Top Fuel champion Antron Brown. He's at the wheel of the Toyota Camry XSE pace car. You can see the NHRA on the Fox family of networks. And Antron makes the left turn to pit road, and here they come.
Yeah, Mike, here they come. And I don't know, there's something about this joint. There's so much energy. The fans are waving their yellow flags. The green flag is in the air. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Blaney from the pole. Here comes Harvick. Lap 1 is the first lap in a cup race Ryan Blaney has ever led here.
Boy, but Harvick, man, did he get off of turn 4 really, really well. Closed right up on the back bumper. He's going to go the high side here. I believe he's going to make a pass.
Run.
He's got that high line working, got the momentum, and there he goes.
That is not what the competition wanted to see, is Kevin Harvick to get out front. He's been so strong, not just last weekend in Atlanta, but all weekend.
Here comes Keselowski around the outside. Kurt Busch in third. Truex in fourth. Kyle Larson fifth. Chase Elliott. Most of your pre-race favorites right there in the top half dozen.
Boy, Mike, there's just something about those Stewart-Haas cars right now. The 4, the 41, they're just so good through the center of the turn. Get back to the gas a lot quicker than anybody else.
You can see right there going through turns 3 and 4. Kevin Harvick not even needing to go to the bottom lane like so many others. He can run right through the middle. That tells you how good his car is handling. Paul Menard battling with Kyle Busch. Looks like Kyle Busch is going to take advantage of that bottom lane. Now 1 and 2, the bottom lane can definitely be an advantage early in a run, but later you're going to see that groove move up high.
Here's Martin Truex trying to take third from Kurt Busch, not in turn 4.
No, but you know what? That 78 team last week did an incredible job. Started in the back, had a top 5 finish. That's how good that team is.
Well, look at how much movement there is. You saw the back of the car, the 41 of Kurt Busch, moving up and down through those bumps. You could also see from the roof camera on Martin Truex Jr. just how rough it is in turns 1 and 2. A lot smoother down at this end of the racetrack.
You know, Jeff, and I think that's the secret to being good here, is get a car that will ride those bumps and not upset it.
Truex has made the pass for third. Eric Jones, Clint Boyer now fighting for ninth.
Heard a lot of cars loose, and I think today the sun's out. It's a bright sunny afternoon. The wind is a different direction. I think we're going to see a lot of cars fight loose for a while.
We just saw Kyle Busch slide up off the bottom of the racetrack, and Paul Menard's going to take that spot back over. I don't know if he was loose or not, DW, but he definitely could not hold the white line.
Yeah, and Mike loose, that's when the back of the car hits the wall first. Busch, that's when the front of the car hits the wall.
Kyle Busch coming back. I think he just got a little bit too aggressive and the air pressures are still a little bit low early in this run. So I think the car hit some of those bumps and worked the car up the racetrack. Now look at him go to the high side to try to avoid some of those bumps.
I think that's the secret. If you can't ride the bumps, if the car will not drive through there without upsetting it, just go around them. Seems pretty simple, doesn't it?
Joey Logano for 10th against Eric Jones. Ford versus Toyota. Kyle Busch moving in against his Joe Gibbs teammate in the 20.
DW, you talk about going around those bumps and seems so easy. When you run that higher lane, you don't pick up the banking quite as fast. Doesn't load the right rear tire, give you the security in, so you feel much looser getting in as you run that top lane.
Big knot of cars right here. Michael McDowell in the 34. Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Bubba Wallace in the 43.
I think, Mike, a lot of these guys, not Kevin Harvick, by the way, but most of these guys are just trying to figure out where their car is right now because conditions are quite a bit different. So they're giving a lot of good information to their crew chief right now about what I want to do to this car when we make a pit stop.
You know, this is really the first full sun we've had all weekend, and that does make a difference.
Yeah, we've seen where Goodyear's brought a tire that does have some fall off here now. We saw it last year, a lot more wear, a lot more rubber laid down on the racetrack. So this groove's going to widen out. The pace is going to change dramatically.
9 laps complete. Ryan Blaney led the first. It's been all Kevin Harvick since then.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Pennzoil 400 is presented by Jiffy Lube, proudly pouring Pennzoil synthetics, and is sponsored by the Ford Hall of Fans. Are you the world's greatest NASCAR fan? Here's your chance to prove it. Go to NASCAR.com/4.
14 laps complete. Kevin Harvick in front of Ryan Blaney by 2 seconds. Martin Truex looking closely at the rear bumper of that second place car. Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson are the top 5. Here's the race for second.
Yeah, Truex just started putting down some really fast laps and gained on Ryan Blaney in a hurry.
But you know what I like about the younger guys like Blaney? They don't give up. They didn't say, you're faster than I am, go ahead. He's fighting him for that position.
Las Vegas is full of characters. You might say that makes it a perfect place for Ryan Blaney.
You never know. A mustache and long hair might make a return. I actually really liked my long hair and my mustache. Towards the end of it, I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. If we win a bunch of races, it might be good luck. So we'll have to find out. Stay tuned.
How come all the young guys want to have a mustache?
You know? They want to look like they're heroes.
Oh, some shade.
That's big right there, brother.
Matt.
Mike, right now, Ryan Blaney's looking for grip. He's a little bit free on entry and tight on exit. His troubled end of the racetrack is down in turns 3 and 4. In fact, his spotter, Josh Williams, told him that Kevin Harvick is running as high as anybody down at that end of the racetrack, and maybe adjust the 12 cars line to see if that will help the balance.
Well, their lap times are only about, well, right now, 0.3 of a second apart. So all weekend long, Darrell, you've said the winning car will have a 4 in the number. And Jeff?
A 2.
A 2 in the number. Can I have 7s and 8s?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You go right ahead.
Vince, how about the defending race winner, Martin Truex?
Yeah, I think you can feel pretty good about that, Mike. The crew chief, Cole Pern, told me the track temperature 30 degrees warmer at the start of the race than what they were dealing with in final practice. And he said he had to adjust the car more than anything to the changing conditions. He said, I'm hoping that we're right. Well, I'd say they're pretty darn close. Martin says it's a little tight center, but as you guys noted, he is laying down some good lap times.
And Mike, what that does is everything happens quicker. The tire pressure build up quicker. The buildup will be greater in the tires. So that's where probably some of the magic is keeping those tires adjusted.
We got a great Rookie of the Year battle this year. Bubba Wallace, free spirit, king of social media, against 19-year-old Jack Armstrong, the All-American boy, college student William Byron. They couldn't be more different. And yet these are two very talented young drivers. They're going to battle all season for Rookie of the Year. Wallace just passed Byron a lap ago to move up a spot here, 25th.
I got to say, Bubba Wallace has really impressed me. But Daytona was unbelievable. Finished second down there, but he had a good run at Atlanta until he had trouble with when I think the 6th car blew in front. He couldn't see where to go, and he's having a pretty nice run here today.
Yeah, he's impressing me right now because I like seeing a driver search around the racetrack, come up behind somebody like he has on Trevor Bayne, go to the bottom to find a way by. As we see somebody else going to the bottom, Kurt Busch working on 3rd place, Ryan Blaney.
And one other thing on Bubba real quick, he doesn't ever talk about what he doesn't have. He brags about what he does have, and I really like that.
9th place, Kyle Busch moving up against Stenhouse.
And we saw Kyle Busch won the truck race here on Friday, and I expected that to be the beginning of a sweep for him this weekend. He's run well here in the Cup car. He's dominated in the Xfinity race in the past, but he didn't yesterday. They struggled with the handling, so I'm really anxious to see what they can put together here today.
Friday night, the Stratosphere 200. Well, things got a little bumpy here in Las Vegas. I'm not talking the pavement in turn 1.
No, he said, while you two knuckleheads are banging off each other, I'll just take the lead.
That was an exciting show.
It was. It was a great race.
23 laps in, and Kevin Harvick now leads Martin Truex by 2.8 seconds. You see the intervals on the left side of your screen. After working lap 24, Harvick has led all but one. '28 complete in Vegas. Kevin Harvick over Martin Truex. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. Great complex of motorsports here in Las Vegas. And there is the new 4-wide championship drag strip. Corner fan Tron Brown is looking forward to that. Very much like ZMX Dragway in Charlotte. There's also a dirt track here, a paved oval called the Bull Ring, and this great 1.5-mile super speedway.
Yeah, I want to say hello to John Force, by the way. He had a pretty serious accident a week or two ago, and I hope you're doing well, John. I hope you're watching.
Yeah, buddy.
Kevin Harvick's led 29 of 30 laps so far, lapping past Cole Custer, making his debut in the Cup Series for Rick Ware Racing. Ricky Stenhouse battling Paul Menard and Clint Boyer. That's 10th place at stake here. And they're about 16 seconds behind the leader.
I just love when you see a racetrack where the groove widens out and there's multiple different lanes that you can choose. That just brings a racetrack back into the driver's hands. Makes it a lot of fun to race. Makes it challenging as well, because there's going to be different lines that are going to bring different speed at different times.
Yeah, also, Jeff, I think it puts a real emphasis on communication. Driver to crew chief. Here's what my car is doing. Here's what I think the car needs. Get some good feedback from the driver. It makes it better.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
That wall was freshly painted this morning, we think. That might have been A.J. Allmendinger.
Allmendinger really out of shape there. Curious to watch the tire wear on these Goodyear tires. Yeah, I think he may have a right rear tire.
Yeah. Boy, a lot of drivers struggling with the handling into turn number 1. Car climbs the hill, and they have to get way out of the gas. Here's a look at Allmendinger. Ooh. And yes.
I think that's going to be a problem. Mike, I think rear tire wear could be a problem because the cars are really, really loose.
And that's what I was going to get to, DW. I heard that the left rear and left side tires were wearing even more. There's a little bit softer compound on the left sides last year and this year, and they are really wearing those left sides out.
Jamie?
Well, going off what you guys are saying about the racetrack, I talked to Clint Boyer this morning, and he said this is the best that this track has ever been. He thought that it had somewhat to do with the way the track is wearing, but also that new right side tire. Jeff, you were curious about that. He said he sees more rubber being laid down, and in practice he was able to run the bottom, go to the top, and then come back down to the bottom instead of being stuck up top. So he really likes the tire change and the way that the car is driving. Right now, though, as you guys mentioned, grip is falling off quick.
Well, it sure is. 34 straight green flag laps to begin this race. And a minute ago, you saw Jimmy Johnson getting lapped by our race leader, Kevin Harvick. Daniel Suarez in for an unscheduled stop.
Wow.
I think the tire wear is extremely high right now. Kind of a fresh racetrack to get it started. They're all over the racetrack finding some new grip, and I think the tires are falling off really bad.
Fourth place, Kyle Larson, who dominated yesterday in the Xfinity Series, passing Kurt Busch.
Nobody works the high line better than Kyle Larson. If that top groove comes in, especially if you can put it right up against the fence like he does so well, watch out. He will be unbelievable.
Vince?
Well, Mike, you noted that he dominated that Xfinity Series race yesterday. I talked to him. He said, very little data transfers from the Xfinity car to the Cup car. But from a driver's perspective, he said that winning on Saturday just makes him feel better, gives him a little more confidence for Sunday. He said, but more importantly, the extra laps on Saturday make him more knowledgeable about the track. and just give him a better feel for the racetrack on Sunday, Larry.
Hey, guys, Joey Logano is on pit road. Martin Truex Jr. is hitting pit road. I think what these teams are doing, they're going to split this first stage in half because of how much give up on the stopwatch.
Vince?
Yeah, that's 78 of Martin Truex Jr. coming in. He said it just started out tight center, but then it got loose in and then kind of snappy loose. So he said they're definitely going to need a little help on the balance. It's going to be a 4-tire change. Crew Chief Cole Pern calling it out with an air pressure adjustment. Matt?
And the 12 making his way to his pit box. Ryan Blaney had been saying that the balance had just started to shift. His biggest issue is down on turns 3 and 4. Loose in, but the tight off was where he felt like he was losing so much of his time. His teammate, Brad Keselowski, in the 2 car. He, too, was extremely free on exit, which he did not expect. That would be one of his issues here today. And Kevin Harvick started outside the front row. Best ever start here at Las Vegas. The car has been virtually on a rail. DW mentioned it earlier. The fact that the car just had so much incredible drive off, Vince.
Dude, Kyle Larson just too free. He'd work the track bar from inside the cockpit. They're trying to give him a little help on that pit stop. The 21 of Paul Menard is in. He said he's good on the bottom, but just way too tight up top. They're going to try to help him on that higher line if they can get it.
Bubba Wallace pinned in behind Kevin Harvick. We'll show you replay here. With that slide and wheels spinning. The other thing that's really tight is the entrance to pit road. Cars are slowing down and almost getting run over by cars out in the racing groove.
I don't know if I've ever seen that many cars hit pit road in that short period of a time here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think Larry hit it. I think they're breaking this first stage up into two parts. Pit around 39, 40 laps and go to the 80-lap mark.
Here's your leader. Micah McDowell's had a great weekend so far here in Las Vegas. Practiced in the top 15. Qualified well, started 15th. He and his teammate David Reagan run 1-2 with Matt DiBenedetto third. Jimmy Johnson and William Byron and Cole Witt. None of them have pitted yet, Michael.
Mike, Matt DiBenedetto is a great story. This team has 0 engineers, 0 simulation. I talked to him this morning. I said, what's your goal? And he said, my goal is to beat guys that I shouldn't with the equipment we have. He's done a great job driving that 32 car at the start of this race. In fact, before Jimmy Johnson pitted, he was putting the pressure on the 7-time champion. Benedetto is the real deal behind the wheel. He just needs more equipment, and they're working hard at doing just that.
Seven drivers have yet to make that first pit stop. Those that did under green found pit road to be a really busy place.
Chevy, the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall.
46 laps complete. Give a call to Bob Jenkins, Front Row Motorsports, based in Statesville, North Carolina, right alongside Interstate 40. His 2 drivers, Micah McDowell and David Reagan, are leading the 400-miler here in Vegas on a contrary strategy. They did not stop at laps 36 to 38 when the rest of the leaders did. Kevin Harvick closing in from about 5 seconds back on that pair. Matt DiBenedetto has just stopped, so is Joey Gase.
Too early to be the closer, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a little early, but he is closing in on that 34.
4 seconds back of the lead pair of McDowell and Reagan is Harvick. And then Truex, Blaney, and Keselowski are both 7 seconds back. For more on Brad, Larry Mack with today's Driving Trust presented by Midas.
Yeah, we're going to highlight Brad Keselowski and this 2 team, his crew chief Paul Wolf. You see the numbers there, how many years they've been together. 23 Cup wins, 2 championships in the Xfinity Series as well as the Cup Series. And Brad told us that Paul reminds him of his dad, Bob Keselowski. He never quits working on getting better. Brad actually handpicked Paul to be his crew chief, and at first Paul said, no, I don't think I want to do it. Going back to last week at Atlanta, the 2 team had the best 4-tire stop average. You know what? I think that fits the Midas Driving Trust quite well.
I think you're right, Larry. Brad's won 2 of the last 4 races here. For the lead, here comes Harvick. McDowell out there on old tires on that contrary strategy, lapping the track 2 seconds off of Harvick's current pace with new tires.
Bubba Wallace fighting hard to stay on the lead lap here as Kevin Harvick goes to the outside. Unbelievable just how many cars he's putting down a lap. Jimmy Johnson coming off pit road with fresh tires.
Now Jimmy's made his stop. William Byron completes his and rolls back out.
Harvick just slices through the field. I mean, whoever's in his way, he goes high. They go high, he goes low. They go low, he goes high. He really got an awesome race car.
Now Jimmy Johnson right now is fighting to not go another lap down. Already, I believe, 2 laps down. This is to stay within 3 laps.
Now at least one issue on that round of green flags.
Down in the 4 pit, Eric Maycroft, the front changer for the 2nd week in a row, has had an issue with his impact gun. But luckily it happened as the stop, the lugs on the left front. He started to back away, and the socket pin had apparently come out, and the socket on the front fell off the gun. So now Maycroft is on his backup gun here in the 4 pit. Could have been much worse time-wise.
Yeah, if I've heard anything consistently down on pit road from the pit crew members, it's that pin that holds the socket that sometimes just doesn't seat right.
Everybody trying to learn new procedures as NASCAR now issues those air guns, regulators, and hoses. Now we wondered about tire wear in the early going on this bright and sunny day. Jamie?
Well, it's very interesting. This is the 14 car. These are the tires that came off. The left rear. Mike Buckaravich, the crew chief, told his driver, Clint Boyer, you would think it was a green track to start this race. That's how severe the tire wear was early on in this race. And keep in mind, we had the Xfinity Series race last night. We had 2 practices yesterday and the truck race Friday night. So we've had a lot of on-track activity. So a bit of a surprise for many of the crew chiefs down here.
Boyer running 15th. His teammate at Stewart-Haas Racing, Kevin Harvick, out in front of Martin Truex as order is restored. The lead gap 2 seconds with Blaney 3rd, Keselowski and Larson. 59 laps complete in Las Vegas. You ride with Daniel Suarez, currently 17th and on the lead lap. That's Jimmy Johnson just ahead. Johnson 1 lap down after making his green flag pit stop off sequence. Before pit stops, Harvick had a 2.6 second lead over Martin Truex. That is now 3.7 seconds, Vince.
Well, there's good reason for that, Mike. They've asked Martin Truex Jr. to save fuel. Why would he be doing that, you ask, after they just pitted? They didn't get enough fuel in when he came in for the pit stop. They're worried about having enough to get him to the end of this stage. 20 to go. Right now, he says it's just too tight off of turn 4. That makes it hard to deal with in traffic. That and the fuel issue has caused them to drop back a bit of Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, they didn't need a lot. Larry, what do you say over there?
Well, they had a 16-second stop. All the fuel man can do is fuel the race car. There's no reason that car should not be full.
I agree. Here's what I think. Why do you want to chase something you can't catch? And he can't catch that 4 car right now.
Here comes Kyle Larson, yesterday's winner in the Xfinity Series, passing Ryan Blaney for 3rd.
I have a feeling after that first run, as much as we saw the fall off, the cars really struggle with the grip, I think you're going to see a lot of adjustments being happening on this stop we just saw and the next stop after that, because the track conditions have thrown a lot of these teams, not Kevin Harvick, but have thrown a lot of them off.
And what have we heard? Adjustments on a pit stop. The pit stop's already slow. If you got to make an adjustment on the car on a pit stop, it's really slow.
Yeah, it seems like the biggest adjustments teams are making are major air pressure adjustments, which is not just air pressure. That actually acts as a spring in that tire and can really significantly change the balance of each end of the racetrack.
It does, yeah, because the one thing that gives on the car, the suspension doesn't move much anymore, but the tires flex a lot.
We've been talking a lot about new air guns and some adjustments that are being made. Let's go to the eBay pit box. Vince Welch.
The situation on pit road last week at Atlanta for Kevin Harvick's team, where the hose connects to the pit gun. This area right here was weak. It broke right here. That was the problem for Harvick's team. So what NASCAR and Paoli have done to remedy that issue, they've added this 24-inch whip hose. So now the connector is here. So that provides more flexibility with the whip hose, more durability at this point, and ultimately more reliability for the pit crew member.
Thanks, Vince. 65 complete, 80 laps in the first two stages of this race. Kevin Harvick continues to extend that lead, picking up right where he left off last week.
Yeah, he led 184 laps last week, I think it was, something in that, 181 laps last week, and looks like he might lead that many again today.
Yeah, the next car ahead of Kevin Harvick is Jimmy Johnson, and then his teammate Eric Almirola. We saw Jimmy Johnson came off pit road, made a late stop for 4 tires, so his tires are much fresher. But Kevin Harvick, that's how good this race car is right now. He's reeling him in.
10-lap difference in the timing of those pit stops. 14 laps to go in stage 1 with Kevin Harvick leading Martin Truex by 5 seconds. One of my favorite places to visit in Las Vegas is the Neon Graveyard. All that great signage from hotels that used to be on the Strip or along Glitter Gulch or downtown. You can pretty much see it all and remember. Welcome back to Las Vegas, part of NASCAR Goes West, presented by Toyota. Remember to follow @Toyota Racing for more content and more conversation around NASCAR Goes West, presented by Toyota. Eight laps to the end of stage 1.
Yeah, right on board here with Daniel Suarez. He was actually the first car on pit road to put 4 tires on. He's a lap down right now. Right along, just you see his head bouncing around. I mean, that truly tells you how rough this racetrack is. I love this perspective, seeing the driver's hands, how much they're working that steering wheel in and through these corners.
And Jeff, also saying how aggressive the setup is with these cars being held down to the racetrack as tight as they are. It makes a rough ride. It makes the aero platform good, but it makes for a really rough ride.
Yeah, you want to seal that splitter and those side skirts to the racetrack, but it's hard to do on a rough track like this. Chase Elliott going down on the apron, making a move on his teammate William Byron, who's a lap down. 2 laps down, I believe.
And just ahead, Casey Kane. Yeah, Byron was also on that off-sequence pit cycle. Got him 2 laps down. Teams are now limited to a 12-man roster and 5 people over the wall, including the fueler. So you have less people to work with when somebody has an issue, it's a little tougher on the teams than in past years when they had an unlimited bench. Matt Yoakum.
Mike, this morning, Richard Petty Motorsports had to go to the bullpen, so to speak, because their regular tire changer in the front, Joshua Francos, had a hand injury in the pit while the team was helping set up the pit box. He was whisked away to the hospital for hand surgery. They pulled in Michael Hubert, developmental guy from RPM that was over helping out on the 15 car. Fire suit's a little baggy. It is his helmet. Great stop the first time out, shaking off a little bit of the rust with these 43 guys, but this is what you have to do. This is the new normal when you're dealing with rosters here on pit road in 2018.
Right, Matt. When a team has to make a replacement, they must use another member that is on a team roster for this race.
We hear another
or on their own roster.
Right, we hear in other sports having depth on your bench. And there, right there is a perfect example why you've got to have some experience that can fill in.
I think that slowing down and going faster, sometimes that complements a guy that maybe hadn't changed tires for a while.
What's interesting is since the pit stop, Martin Truex Jr. has settled in, running now quicker lap times than Kevin Harvick, and brought that gap back down to 3.6 seconds, just about where it was when they came off pit road.
Yeah, and actually Harvick has not been able to make a move on his teammate Eric Almirola to put him a lap down.
Well, with 2 laps to go in the segment, would you?
No, he I don't think he really wants to. because we're coming to the end of the stage here, that keeps that car on the lead laps. I think that's what he might be thinking, Jeff. I don't know.
Was my point.
Ryan Blaney, pole sitter in 4th. All the Penske cars in the top 6. Four, 5, 6. Blaney, Logano, Keselowski. And indeed, Harvick has lapped up to 16th place. So Eric Almirola remains last car on the lead lap, along with his other Stewart-Haas teammate Clint Boyer, just ahead 1 spot. Chase Elliott having a fine drive in 8th. And the flag waves over Kevin Harvick, the winner of stage 1 in Las Vegas.
I don't know, when you put freaky fast on your car, I guess maybe they know what they're talking about.
3.6 seconds up on Martin Truex. Larson, Blaney, Logano, second stage win for Kevin Harvick in 2018. Kevin Harvick led all but 12 laps in stage 1, counting the 2 we've run under caution here. He led 70 out of 80. Quite a performance for last week's winner. And he will lead the field on to pit road. Pit road is open, Vince.
Well, Kyle Larson in that 42 will pit from the 3rd position. Likes his car, said, I'm not bad here. I'm not as good as the 4, but I'm better than the 78. So it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for Kyle Larson. And then the 78 of Truex pitting from the 2nd spot made it despite being low on fuel. Tight from the center to the 2/3 mark. He said, I just can't point the nose in the car the way I want. It's a little bit inconsistent. They want to address it, Matt.
Harvick starting on qualifiers like the rest of the field, so several heat cycles on them. When he made the last stop, they were sticker tires, brand new. The car reacted a little bit more on the free side during this run. Rodney Childers will try to fix that car with an air pressure adjustment. Harvick is away.
Long stop for Martin Truex, 17.1. Here's the race off pit road, presented by Jiffy Lube. Truex loses 4 spots.
I say we dial up our stage winner. Hey, Kevin, this is Jeff up in the Fox Sports booth. You got me?
10-4.
All right. Last week, we kind of expected you to do what you did. But this week, I expected it to be a little bit tougher on you. You guys are making it look so easy. What have you and Rodney and this team done to improve your performance so much this year?
Well, I think when you look at the end of last year, that's really where a lot of it came from. And obviously, everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing does a great job. And our bread and butter really, over the last 5 years, has really been on these mile-and-a-half racetracks. So they just do a good job. We got a lot less to work on this winter, so they could really go to work on the race cars. And we'll see how the rest of it goes here for our Jimmy John's Ford.
Yeah, well, you guys are looking good. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck.
10-4. Thanks, man.
Kevin Harvick, stage 1 winner. Austin Dillon from 16th place will get the free pass and be on the lead lap when we restart.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Pennzoil 400 is presented by Jiffy Lube and sponsored by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of NASCAR, and by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR.
Monster Energy brought the action. Champion drifter Vaughn Gittin Jr. and his Traveling Smoke Show hit the pavement out behind the main grandstand. Boy, did they burn down a bunch of tires. It was fun. It was loud. They brought their entire bag of tricks here and had some fun for the fans today. Let's take a look at our Xfinity fastest pit stop. You know, we were talking 16-second range at Daytona, but look at what Kurt Busch's team just pulled off.
Wow, that's impressive. 13.7?
Yes, sir.
We've talked about how these teams are just going to continue to get faster and faster. This is all new to them.
But look at Kevin Harvick, a 14.8 second stop. And Martin Truex, 17.1.
I don't know how you feel about it, DW. I was always the one, I'm happy to have an average, a little slower than some others, but just stay in that average.
Don't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
Vince, what happened to the 78?
Slow on the left rear, so they've had 2 issues in 2 stops. The first one, they didn't get enough fuel in it. The second one, they were slow on the tire exchange. So got some work to do on that 78, but still, he's got plenty of speed. We'll see if he can make it up.
Okay. Brett Bodine back behind the wheel of the pace car, which today is the 2018 Toyota Camry XSE. As we get ready to begin stage 2, there is some debris they have to pick up on the racetrack. Trucks working the back straightaway. Safety truck, and so we'll add a lap here.
Mike, one good thing about the 78 or any team really, having trouble early so you have time to overcome it. Get these things out of the way so you're good to go at the end.
We talked to some drivers at the beginning of the season about restarts, which have become so key to gaining track position.
Restarts are definitely different at the end of the race than they are, at the beginning. I mean, sometimes you're protecting, sometimes you're, desperate.
Every time you try to listen to your spotter and do it his way, it doesn't work out. You have to do it your own way. You have to have confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah, I think you use your info from your spotter and your crew chief anytime you can get it.
A lot of times the late race caution is a one last opportunity to win the race, and you have to be aggressive to make it happen.
Well, gas pedal and steering wheel, what's the common denominator that links those two? Driver.
That's right. Brad, because I talked to Brad about this last year, and I don't think it's changed any. He said a late race restart, as Clint said, is different maybe than one right now. You have to be in the top 5 to have a shot at winning on a late race restart.
Now, NASCAR has added a wrinkle here that they talked about in the drivers' meeting yesterday and today. The rule is that you must stay in your lane. Follow the car in front of you until the green flag waves. But if that leader takes them below the white line down to the inside of the racetrack there, it's not out of bounds, but on restarts, it will be. Up until the start-finish line, you must stay up above that line on restarts.
Yeah, the track's so wide there that these drivers can make it 3 wide there. I think it's a safety measure that NASCAR's put into effect.
So here they come to the Geico restart zone. Stage 2, Harvick and Larson the front row. Harvick choosing the inside, and here we go.
We talk about being aggressive on restarts. He's got a couple right beside him, as we already see Joey Logano, and we heard from him how aggressive he is on these restarts, already taken 3 wide to the outside of Larson.
Mike, I think we'll see some different race cars now that we've had a chance to work on them a little bit, tighten them up, make some adjustments, a little air pressure change. Could see a different race now.
Also had Almirola coming up 3 wide, trying to gain some ground, and Jamie McMurray way on the outside. Oh, Paul Menard might have got the wall. Maybe.
I've been watching that one car, and he has been rim riding the whole first 80 laps. So we'll see how see what he does now.
So we see they're 3 wide. Paul Menard in the middle here between Denny Hamlin and Jamie McMurray. Slides up in front of McMurray. Woo, no, he didn't brush the wall. I thought he touched it. It's a good save.
I think McMurray was a little free right there.
We're in Vegas, Darrell. Nothing is free.
That's right. No free lunch, as Larry likes to say.
Kevin Harvick is getting it all done out on the racetrack, but they had another issue on this stop.
Mike, basically soup to nuts from the socket on the impact gun all the way to the regulator that goes into the nitrogen bottle on the pit box. That is all NASCAR mandated, part of the release program to try to cut costs and keep things consistent here on pit road. The regulator has a pressure relief valve, so to speak, at 140. Basically, that's where it maxes out. But this regulator on the 4-box jumped to over 200, and then the pressure relief valve slowly trickled back down. The guns do not like to have that much pressure, so they had to swap that out.
Well, we're going to go through some real growing pains with these air guns. So many things. NASCAR was saying they may even allow the tire changer to put his own socket on the gun, because right now it comes a part of the gun. So that's something, every changer likes something custom to his style, so that's something they're considering. I'm sure there'll be other things down the road.
All I know is right now, if you're Kevin Harvick, you're lucky and good, because it doesn't seem to be hurting their stop enough to keep them from leading this race.
I think we heard that even, remember last week when you were going to talk to him and he said, hold on just a minute, I'll get back to you. No panic.
Yeah.
No.
Kyle Busch outside Brad Keselowski. Here's two drivers you would expect to contend for the win. Matt?
Mike, right on the bottom, the first run today, the 2-car, Brad Keselowski said he was on the free side. Now, they made an adjustment on the last stop. They lost one spot on pit road, and here's Paul Wolf's explanation of why.
We got to start putting wrenches in the window. We're going to lose time. Got one less guy in the pit crew now. That's part of the problem. Copy. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, what would happen before the change this year where we went from 6 to 5 crew members is the fuel man could make the adjustment. But now the fuel man cannot do anything but fuel the car, and these guys are multitasking, and it just makes it hard for even a tire carrier to make an adjustment, whether it be with wedge or the track bar with the wrench in the rear window, which is what he was referring to.
Kevin Harvick with a 1.1 second lead over Ryan Blaney.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Pennzoil 400 is presented by Jiffy Lube, proudly pouring Pennzoil Synthetics, and is sponsored by Pizza Hut. No one out pizzas the Hut. Time for a Monster Energy race break live trackside here in Las Vegas with Michael Waltrip. I'm Chris Myers, and Harvick is hot, continuing where he left off last week. And back in 15 and 16, he dominated, winning the West Coast swing. Kyle Larson won it last year. Harvick, the driver to beat. Now, what do drivers do when they know that coming in, and he's holding up his end of the bargain so far?
I felt like on pit road he was cautiously optimistic. But what I saw, Chris, was Rodney Childers. He can make the calls, the adjustments. They had to make some changes after practice yesterday with this weather. He was right on time with those changes, and that car's been perfect.
And Ryan Blaney, our pole sitter, the 24-year-old who dominated at Daytona, moving back up now to second, right behind Harvick. Remember, Fords had the top 3 spots when they started the race. And then there's Kyle Larson in third.
And I believe Kyle Larson will make a race of this before it's over. I think he'll mess around, find him a lane up high, possibly on this racetrack. Look at him turning back to the right there. He's searching, he's trying, but his car is really loose. I think they get it tightened up, and he chases Harvick down.
Brad Keselowski on the radio during stage 1 was saying, I'm so bad in traffic, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, I can't do anything. So what kind of adjustments can he make, did he make, where he is currently 6th?
Well, he has to talk to his crew chief, and his crew chief, Paul Wolf, can hear what he's meaning in the tone of his voice, how serious it is. And I'm telling you, Chris, they made some good adjustment. This car is better, but not on the pace of our leaders.
And I know Jimmy Johnson, hoping for bounce-back performance, hasn't led a lap this year, hasn't led a lap today, significant to a place where he has won more than any other driver.
Well, he's led the last 6 races in a row, and there's no way he's going to lead a lap today, it doesn't appear. They haven't improved the car since the beginning of the race, so hopefully march up there and get a free pass and get back on the lead lap at least.
This has been a Monster Energy race break. Let's head back upstairs to Jeff, Darrell, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. 103 laps complete. Tough break for Michael McDowell. A mechanical issue on his number 34 Ford, and he looks like he's going to make that sharp left turn. Yep, into the garage and done for the day.
Yeah, that's a shame. He was having one of the best weekends we've seen him have in a long time.
Started 15th. We go to his home track next week. Well, for more on Jimmy Johnson, here's Jamie.
Well, it has been a tough day, Mike, for Jimmy Johnson since the start of this race. They had to drop to the back for not passing technical inspection 3 times. So after the start of the race, he got into the wall, just brushed it, but there was enough right rear quarter panel damage that the last pit stop, they actually fixed that. But he said he's just been fighting loose. They've been adjusting on this car, but he's just stuck back there. 1 lap down at this point, running 23rd, Mike.
Well, the situation with Jimmy Johnson was a topic of conversation this week on FS1 on NASCAR Race Hub. Here's a look.
It's pretty low. I think Jimmy's probably not real nervous. Chad's probably nervous because he would like a faster race car right now. I think the whole Hendrick camp, probably they're anxious because they want to get to Vegas and see if they can be faster than they were in Atlanta.
Because I know Chad's going to be here tomorrow, Jimmy might be cool, but Chad is
full-on panic mode.
But that's what makes them great, right? But you have to have someone who stresses out.
After listening to the radio Sweetheart nominees, I think we know where Chad's at.
Is Joey going to be at the show with Chad next?
Yeah, I don't know whether I agree or disagree.
No, man, come on. We're 2 races in. We had a wonderful Daytona. Our cars were fast on there. Didn't get the finishes that we wanted by any stretch of the imagination. Atlanta, no, did not go at all because of how I anticipated it to go. So, we're all right. If you wanted to look up there, you can say, oh, that's easy. I'm cruising around this area right now. But the truth of the matter is, we have our driver's so cool. He always hangs out about there. So I'm going to agree with Drew, and we're hanging out right about in that area. We're a little anxious.
It balances out at anxious. Okay.
Looking forward to getting back to Las Vegas.
All right, that's Chad Knaus, and you catch the hub most weeks Monday through Thursday night on FS1. So that's Chad Knaus, who's worked today trying to get Jimmy back up onto the lead lap. You might up that level just a little bit, but talk to Jimmy this morning. He's not worried. He's in the best shape of his life. He and his group biked 35 miles last night around Lake Las Vegas. Had a good time. Here's an important thing I think we're overlooking. This car and all of those Hendrick Chevys were built and in the truck and ready to go here before Atlanta. It's going to be a couple of weeks, Larry, before they can take what they've learned at Atlanta and Las Vegas and even at Phoenix and Fontana and work them into these new Camaros.
Very true, Mike. But we sat down with Chad Knaus at Daytona, and he was short and sweet with what he said. We hate losing a whole lot more than we enjoy winning.
Oh, good point. Last year, Johnson had just one top 10 finish in the first 6 races, but he won race 7 at Texas and race 8 at Bristol.
Throughout the season, Ford will be searching for the most passionate NASCAR fans to become the first ever inductees into the Ford Hall of Fans. To learn more, go to NASCAR.com/Ford.
115 laps complete in Las Vegas. Xavier Villanova, the rest of the Big East fight for conference supremacy on FS1. It's the Big East Tournament, sponsored by Jeep. It starts Wednesday only on FS1. Last week, Kevin Harvick put on a clinic in Atlanta, and for the rest of the field, I'm afraid school is still in session.
Telling you, always remind me of what Bill France told me. Will you quit stinking up my show?
Now, we have talked and talked for 3 solid weeks about how the Ford has a 5-year-old body in the Ford Fusion, how it's at a disadvantage to last year's new Camry and this year's new Camaro in the downforce department and at the mile-and-a-half track. What happened? Wow, talk about wrong. What was a call.
What was it Keselowski said they were going to do this year?
Yeah, he used some word I never heard. I don't know.
Trouble, or I can't remember what he said, but I expected this year to really see the Toyotas continue their dominance, the Camaro to be really strong, the new car, and the Fords to be searching for speed. And we're seeing the exact opposite.
10th place. Denny Hamlin letting Chase Elliott go for the moment.
Been watching Hamlin a lot, though. He's running that high line, and he has been committed to that ever since the race started.
Jamie?
Once again, Chase Elliott has been the best Hendrick car all weekend long. I talked to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, this morning, and he said Chase has done an incredible job just getting all he can out of this new race car, and they've been finding the right adjustments for it. Chase just saying he's been a little bit, he's been battling with tight, and the stability goes away the higher he runs up the racetrack. Matt?
Jamie, drivers are always looking for weak links and how to improve in those areas. Denny Hamlin is focused ever since he won the 2016 Daytona 500 on the intermediate tracks. Yes, he'd won races there before, but he felt like that he needed to adjust his driving style to what the car demanded, not try to get the car to factor in more of his style. So he is focused on that, and he's changed things up. Right now, his car from the drop of the green has been on the free side, needs more front grip, especially on entry into turn 1.
Denny Hamlin, top 10 in the last 8 races on mile-and-a-half tracks. Whoa, here comes Keselowski after Martin Truex. This is for 5th place. Kyle Busch right with him.
Clear.
And Joey Logano has begun this round of green flag pit stops.
Yeah, Mike, this splits it right in half again. This stage, just like they did stage 1, I'd say the next 3 to 4 laps, you're going to see everybody on pit road.
Matt?
And Joey Logano pulls into his pit box, the Pennzoil colors. Kyle Busch is entering pit road now, going to work on the right side of Logano's Ford. Pretty much it has stayed the same this run as it was the previous run, just on the tight side. You can see on the left side of the screen his teammate Brad Keselowski. Loose on exit, just incredibly difficult in traffic. Vince?
Here's the 42, Kyle Larson. He really liked his car last run. This time around, it's been a little bit freer, especially as the run goes. So they made a track bar adjustment there. Also 4 tires for the 42. You see the 78 of Martin Truex. He said, it feels okay. I just don't feel like I can go like I want to. Matt?
And a little bit longer there on the right rear of the 2. Meanwhile, stops continue. Kevin Harvick's team, they've got the signboard waiting on the 4. Close call with a 21 of Paul Menard. Here comes Harvick into his pit box. Doolittle and Maycroft going to work in the front. Justin White. These guys are having a solid stop so far. Let's see if they can get through with an instant 3 on the mechanical side. Wow, in time with each other. Fuel going in. And he's away, Mike.
Ryan Blaney, our pole sitter, getting 4 tires. Green flag stops continue. Kyle Busch has not yet stopped. He's our race leader. Jimmy Johnson 10th, also being off cycle with the rest of the cars on the lead lap.
Looked like the 4 car had a pretty solid stop that time. I don't know how quick it was, but it looked really good.
Yeah, they certainly have not bobbled yet today. They are flawless right now.
Denny Hamlin, too fast entering. That'll be a drive-through penalty under green here.
Yeah, he was in 10th position before coming to pit road, and I mean, we have seen the 11 of Denny Hamlin have so many pit road violations.
Whoa, somebody almost missed the pit road entry and got out into traffic. Jimmy Johnson. That was a close one.
This is a difficult pit road to get to, especially when the tires are worn out. You're trying to carry as much speed as you can to get to pit road.
Here's what we saw. Johnson way out, either a late call.
Yeah, it looked like a late call. He actually did a nice job.
Jamie.
And Jimmy Johnson in the box now. He has been loose. You saw that wedge adjustment right there. He's been using the track bar adjuster, but saying it's just not working today. A 4-tire stop, Matt.
Kyle Busch's day has been about moments. It's just moments the car's tight, moments it's loose, and then moments it's even bigger tight. It's just not consistent. Right now it's on the tight side. Significant air pressure change on the 18. They're just trying to throw something at it here to hit the right balance. A little bit longer on that stop on the 18.
So Kyle Busch surrenders the lead. Back to Kevin Harvick as he comes around, and NASCAR was working the black flag on Denny Hamlin. Now he will come to pit road to serve his penalty.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Pennzoil 400, presented by Jiffy Lube, is sponsored by Novartis. And by Credit One Bank. You may already be pre-qualified. Visit us today.
130 laps complete. We're almost to halfway, so let's check in on the Coca-Cola family of drivers. Riding with Daniel Suarez. Joey Logano made a big gain on those green flag stops. Kyle Larson in the top 5. Dillon, Hamlin, Newman, Wallace, and Suarez back in 31st after an issue on his pit stop. Jamie.
Another gun issue here. You see Clay Robinson, the front changer for Daniel Suarez, talking to NASCAR. NASCAR is holding the gun in their hand. Same problem we've been hearing, the pin that pops out of the sprocket, that's what they were holding in their hands. So it sounds like a similar issue to what the teams were having last week. So they had a left front loose, and he had to come back in and tighten that wheel.
I think one of the learning curves, one of the things that the maybe Pale people got to figure out is when you do your own guns, you rebuild them every week. You put brand new parts in them every time you go to the racetrack. I'm not saying they don't. I don't know what they're doing, but they got to realize these things take a beating.
NASCAR's told us that they dyno the guns after every race, and they do have a rebuild cycle based on the number of usages, taking the wheel off, putting a wheel back on. I don't know what that cycle is, but they do have a rebuild plan.
Yeah, Mike, we talked about this in the pre-race show, and I think we certainly know we're going through some growing pains with these Pennzoil air guns, and I think we knew we were. It did not really get started until almost about the time 2017 was over. But if you go back to the old air guns that teams did themselves, we still had issues. It just never got advertised as much because they belong to the team. And now that these are NASCAR mandated issue guns, I think we're certainly hearing a lot more about it. There are problems. We have to work it out, and they will get worked out.
Yeah, and as we watch this battle between second place Joey Logano and teammate Ryan Blaney, as Blaney gets a run on the outside, probably going to take that spot. We have also heard where NASCAR is open to the idea. We've heard pit crew members, they like their own socket that fits their style. And they're talking to the teams about maybe they can put their own socket and pin their own socket on these guns in the future.
You and DW would not like to go drive a race car where the seat was mandated. You want your own seat, right?
That's right.
But as we said, this will evolve over hopefully a short period of time.
Yeah, Larry, I couldn't even get my leg in his seat.
Now, Joey Logano just gave up second place. Here are the brothers Busch, 7th and 8th. Kyle up to 7th.
As good as Stuart Haas has been performing last week and this week, as good as Kevin Harvick is, I really thought Kurt Busch would be a real contender to be able to challenge Kevin Harvick this weekend, but not showing that speed so far.
What would it mean to Kurt Busch to finally get a win at his hometown racetrack?
What would it mean to get my first win at my home track? It'd mean the world to me. This place has been special to me over the years. It's also been frustrating. I mean, I've won everything that I've driven here in Vegas except a Cup car, Monster Energy Cup car on the big 1.5 miles. So it'd mean the world to me to win here in front of all my family, friends, and all the Las Vegas fans.
And it's hard to believe after 16 tries, he has yet to bring it to victory lane. And I talked to his crew chief, Billy Scott, and he said, we feel the pressure. We want to make this happen for Kurt. But I have to try to convince him that this isn't Las Vegas. It's another track. Take the pressure off of yourself. And so far today, the car has been decent, but he's just fighting loose off. And that has been the problem since the beginning. They made an air pressure adjustment that he just didn't like.
He's in 8th place, 8 seconds off the lead. Side by side with Ty Dillon, who is 2 laps down now in the 13.
All right, I found the word that Keselowski used.
Yes.
Drubbing. He said that the Fords were going to take a drubbing. Well, they're 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know what the full definition of drubbing is, but I don't think that's
not it.
But you know what? You got to take a little time out here and think about the Toyotas last year. They struggled a little bit early on, except for Truex. Today we see the 9 car. He's not struggling as much as his teammates are. But it takes a little bit of time to get your arms around a new car. And I think, Jeff, you know this, when you get in a race and the car's around other cars, it acts totally different than it does on the racetrack by themselves. I think probably aero is an issue that they got to really work to and see what they can come up with.
Well, aero's so big. I mean, an airplane wing has 2 control surfaces, the top and the bottom. NASCAR carefully regulates the top, not so much the bottom. Larry Mack.
We want to talk about the adjustments that we've been hearing when we use our Ford Performance cutaway car right here. It's getting harder and harder to do it on a pit stop, but what happens when they put that wrench in the back window? They're screwing down or screwing off either the right rear or the left rear. And what you actually do when you go down on the right rear, you're putting more weight on that right rear, and that's going to free the car up. Now, if you went over to the left rear and you did the same thing, it's putting more weight on the left rear, and it's actually going to tighten the car up. That's what happens when we talk about a wedge adjustment under the race car. That's what's going on.
Thanks, Larry. You know, I like Joey Logano's strategy. By pitting first, he got fresh tires sooner, a couple of laps sooner than the other leaders. He came out of the pit second and is still riding third behind Harvick and Blaney. Here's 6th place, where Kyle Busch has caught Martin Truex.
Yeah, Kyle Busch, they found something. Maybe made an adjustment to that car. He's found a line, something that's working for him. But this is what a champion does. I mean, I know Martin Truex Jr. is last year's champion, but Kyle Busch battled with him for that championship, past champion, and they are tuning to get better right now. And look at him go to the front.
Look at laps led. Kevin Harvick, 126. That's not all of the green flag laps, but it's most of them.
It's race day in America.
And there's a place for renegades like us.
Where shorts are called shorts for a reason.
Where ice-cold beer and smoked wings are the food pyramid.
So buckle up, y'all. Because, hey, karma happens.
Let's cheer on the veterans.
At a place that was damn near built for it.
Hooters. When Chase wins, you win. Free fried pickles when Chase finishes in the top 10. And 10 free boneless wings with any 10-wing purchase when he comes in first.
He's got it righted. Pass by the 18. Contact. Oh, into the wall hard, and they pile up behind him. Here they come.
Wow. What a race. Wow. What a run.
More and more people are finding themselves in a Chevrolet for the first time. Trying something new can be exciting, empowering, downright exhilarating. See for yourself why Chevrolet is the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. Switch into a new Chevy now. Current qualified competitive owners and lessees can get this 2018 Chevy Equinox for around $199 a month. Chevrolet, find new roads.
The Big East tournament. It's about to go down.
This is where the hardest players turn it.
The stars of the Big East fight for conference supremacy on FS1.
It's come from the Big East tournament. Watch the MSG where we born to be victorious. Oh my goodness! This place goes crazy.
The 2018 Big East tournament begins Wednesday at 7 Eastern on FS1.
In the West, drivers, tracks are filled with fortune. Let's strike gold, racers.
There's a secret in them Smoky Mountains. And it's my new KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue, made by taking my freshly prepared extra crispy fried chicken and coating it in a sweet and smoky barbecue. Try it in a tenders basket at KFC, now just $4.99. It's finger-licking good.
Race day? I'm making chili.
Nah, hot dog.
Chili?
No. Hot dog.
How about a sub? With chili. Race day calls for a Coke.
Nothing better.
It's tailgating 101.
Kevin Harvick, your leader by nearly 3.5, but Kyle Larson has broken up the Ford stranglehold on the front 4 spots. He passed Brad Keselowski last time by to move into 4th place.
I think, Mike, as this race goes along, I just think some of the cars that are struggling a little bit will get a little bit better. Harvick's in a box. His car is so good, they can't do anything to it. So what we got to do is try to figure out how we're going to catch him and work on our car to get as good as his.
And that's sometimes the downside to having such a dominant car early in the race. You're afraid to make any adjustments. It's so good. Why make adjustments? And everybody else has a target on you and is trying to figure out everything they can do to catch up.
Look at that graphic. Don't show everybody that.
Wow. 314 laps in the last. That is amazing.
Well, his teammates haven't fared quite so well. Kurt Busch is in 8th, Eric Almirola 13th. Clint Boyer just had to make an unscheduled stop. Thought he had a loose wheel on the left side. So that drops Boyer off the lead lap. Kyle Busch is our Toyota top performer. 6th, and moving on, Brad Keselowski now for 5th.
He's one of the fastest cars on the track right now. They have definitely made some big improvements.
So Kyle Busch ahead of Martin Truex in 7th. How about Eric Jones having a strong day here in 11th, Matt?
Mike, Eric Jones and the 20 team, they were one of the batch of teams that tested here in the preseason. Crew Chief Chris Gale told me the test was very beneficial because they were able to check things off the list that they would not have got a chance to try here this weekend. It felt like it narrowed their box and they were really close on setup. Here's Eric Jones telling his team about their importance today and perfection on pit road.
Gotta be on pit road the rest of the day. Running these guys down like this is almost impossible.
And you know, guys, the biggest thing I was impressed with, they ran over 50 laps in the 2 practices yesterday, and every time he went out was a long run of 20 laps or more.
You know, Larry Eric was telling me he was so excited about having Chris Gale for the 2nd year in a row. He said it's the first time I've had the same crew chief back-to-back years.
Good point.
Yeah, having confidence in that pick, your crew chief, as we see it, swap for a position here. Kyle Larson was working the outside of Joey Logano in turns 3 and 4. Goes to the bottom to make it stick this time.
I thought he was our high roller, as in high side, Vince.
Hey, you know, it's interesting, guys. Kyle Larson was talking earlier in the run about, hey, we're a lot freer this run. And then he came about 10 laps ago and he said, all of a sudden, it feels a lot grippier. Since then, he passed the 2 car of Keselowski, passed the 22 of Logano. Larson's finding some speed late in the run when most are losing it.
Well, yesterday he did what Kevin Harvick's trying to do today, and that's pretty much break the bank. Justin Allgaier right behind him on this restart. Larson takes off, drives away. Your Xfinity race winner from yesterday.
I like watching this kid race, whether it's on dirt or whether it's in these cup cars. He just constantly is trying to find more speed, constantly trying to push the limits, push the edge, and he will go anywhere, whether it be down on the apron or all the way to the yellow wall, as we see on the outside here, to try to find a lane that he can get speed out of that car with.
Hard to believe he's had 6 runner-up finishes on mile-and-a-halfs, but never in the Cup Series has Owen, Kyle's son, got to do this and stand on the winning car in victory lane as he did yesterday.
I think he's practicing for the future.
Yes, sir. I know what Larson's looking forward to. 2-mile track. That's what he's looking forward to.
2 weeks away. Fontana, California. 4 seconds from Harvick to Blaney.
Oh, Blaney, our pole setter there, he's hanging tough. Not too far behind Harvick.
Yeah, any little bobble on pit road or late in this race, I think somebody like Blaney could really be a factor.
Final laps of stage 2. Jimmy Johnson. 1 lap down plus. He's in 19th place. Only 13 cars on the lead lap right now. Car on the wall will be Jeffrey Earnhardt. Keeps on going. No call for, no indication of debris. We stay green. Earnhardt running in 34th, 8 laps back. And next time by, we'll get the end of stage 2. Going to be close for 4th place behind Harvick, Blaney, and Larson. Joey Logano and Kyle Busch fighting for stage points, which are awarded at the line as they complete lap 160. I believe Logano got it by 5/100ths of a second. Martin Truex won both stages en route to his win here last year. Kevin Harvick has now won stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 2 belongs to these guys, led by Rodney Childers, former standout late model driver who climbed the career ladder behind the wheel as far as he could go and then found himself a home as a crew chief. I think he had 5 drivers in 1 year at Michael Waltrip Racing, and then moved over here to Stewart-Haas to lead this team for Kevin Harvick. And they have done great things. Here come the lead lap cars onto pit road. Vince.
Kyle Larson is pitting from third place. Larson's been pretty pleased with the car. He said it's a little bit free off. That's the one area that they're going to address, but otherwise pretty solid, especially late in that run. 4 tires and wedge. Matt?
The 12 car of Ryan Blaney had noticed that the wind had changed because it was making his car freer on entry into the third turn. That had changed near the end of this run. His car needs more help in traffic. Small air pressure change. He's been working the track bar. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick, no changes on the 4 car, near perfect.
There's a race off pit road. Looked like, was that Joey Logano out first?
And Kyle Busch second.
A couple of big gainers there. Well done. So stage 2 is in the record book, and Kevin Harvick, stage 1, stage 2, trying to clean house.
All right, man, let's have some fun today. Try to keep it up front all day. Be there at the end. 42 still down there now. Seriously, dude, I go up off the bottom. He just missed the corner right in front of me. I go to the bottom, he goes to the bottom. I'm just so bad in traffic here. I can't do anything.
Rush hour in Las Vegas from the driver's point of view. Now look down on the lower left of your screen where Joey Logano had the best pit stop of the entire field. There's the difference on this stop. And here's a look at the 22 pit crew led by Todd Gordon. I believe that's the fastest stop we've seen this season so far, with 1 less men over the wall than last year. Well, the front row restarters based on last year's race are not exchanging Christmas cards. Joey Logano and Kyle Busch got into a dust-up after this race last year. They had heavy contact twice with Busch's car spinning around, but that was last year. Here we go to begin stage 3 into the Geico restart zone.
I think now we're going to see just how good is Kevin Harvick and those improvements that we saw in the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Can he keep Harvick behind him?
Harvick did not get a good restart. This is the deepest he's been in the field all day. Comes Chase Elliott on the inside, working hard. 3rd place for Chase.
Chase had a good car. I mean, he's been running the top 10 all day long, and up there fighting with these leaders.
Well, we saw it last week at Atlanta. They didn't have the best car, but they worked on it all day long and really made improvements by the end of the race.
So Kevin Harvick right behind this duo side by side.
Mike, if you're Kevin Harvick right now, the one thing you don't want to do is beat yourself. He knows he's got the best car in the field. They're back in traffic a little bit. Just be patient and let it come to you.
Tell that to his teammate Kurt Busch as he gets right to the rear bumper.
Got very close.
I don't know. I just think we heard in our radio remix about aerodynamics and being in traffic, how it's affecting the cars. I don't think that Kevin Harvick wants to know what that's like.
7th place from Kyle Larson, looking across at Brad Keselowski. And they have a mirror full of Paul Menard. Keselowski makes the pass.
I think it's just no big surprise to me. Paul Menard running great in that 21 car. I mean, you think about Ryan Blaney in that car last year. He had some great runs, won Pocono. Paul's a good, solid driver. See what happens.
Vince?
Yeah, and they have been really happy with that car throughout the course of the day, especially on the bottom. Paul said it's been pretty strong, and even on that last run, he said it was pretty comfortable, all things considered, especially the changes that the track seemed to go through on that run. It's been a good move for Paul Menard over to the Penske Group in association with Wood Brothers, of course, and that crew chief combination of he and Greg Irwin seems to have hit on something as well.
That team's been in the top 10 the last 2 races here. Riding with Chase Elliott, who both of you predicted would be the best of the Hendrick Chevys today. Jamie.
And he's running the best he has all day. Last run, he was way worse in traffic, so they made an air pressure adjustment, took 4 tires there, and his team did a killer job. They gained him 4 spots on the track as Kevin Harvick flies right by the 9.
Yeah, we saw Kevin Harvick run a little bit higher line, a little bit cleaner air as he was up there, and it looked like Chase Elliott just bobbled a little bit being behind Kyle Busch, lost a lot of momentum, and Kevin Harvick took advantage of it.
Kurt Busch and Brad Keselowski now drawing a bead on the 9.
Mike, one thing I noticed about the 4 car, and I think it'll pan out here in a little bit, his car gets better as it goes along in a run. Or maybe I should say he doesn't slow down as much as some of the others do in a run. It'll be interesting. This is a good learning experience for him. What if this happens late in the race? So now he knows what he maybe has to work on, but they haven't had to do much to it up to now.
So, Larry, this last stage is 107 laps. It's the longest stage in the day. What are you thinking?
Well, remember, the fuel window is about 50, 60, 60 laps. For fuel, you have to stop once. We went back racing with 101 laps to go. With the tire fall off, I think, should we stay green, we may see 2 different strategies. Some teams may elect to split it in half.
Oh, big slide, Larry, by the 48. Almost came around getting into turn 3.
Loose.
That car is evil.
It is.
But what we may see some teams split it in half, 50 laps a run. We may see some teams split it into thirds and run 30 to 35 laps a run.
Well, this group of cars, the last 2 laps, Eric Jones there in the 20, Ryan Newman in the 31. Both in the top 15. Ooh.
Yeah, Eric Jones had a nice run. Couldn't go to the inside, so maybe a little tap to the rear bumper. Here's Jimmy Johnson's save. That is what you call sliding it into the corner.
But that's an important battle because they're battling. Newman and Johnson are fighting to be the first car 1 lap down. If we got, back straightaway car in the fence.
McMurray.
Yes.
I tell you what,
it's like right front.
Mike, that 1 car has been up against that wall the whole race. I don't know what happened there, but he's been riding that wall. I know that.
Go by, then you're good. Okay, you're fine.
Lap 176.
He was running 11th, I think, Mike. Running pretty good.
And Jamie McMurray brings out the first caution for contact in this race. And that is good news for Ryan Newman. He'll get the free pass. Here's what happened to McMurray.
Yeah, I think that it just has the looks of a right front tire going down soft.
By the way, Austin Dillon got the free pass at the end of stage 2. Ryan Newman wins that battle with Jimmy Johnson to get this one.
And you wonder why sometimes you battle that hard for those positions. That's why. You never know when the caution's going to come out.
Larry, didn't we just pit?
Give me 4 more tires.
A lot of fall off today.
Matt.
And here come the cars down pit road. Now Ryan Blaney and his teammate Joey Logano, the 22 and 12, similar problems now. Logano says his car went free the last few laps. The balance also shifted for Ryan Blaney. He wants a little bit more of an air pressure change to try to affect the balance of his car. He needed to be actually a little freer at the beginning of the run. He's away. Meanwhile, the 18 of Kyle Busch, he was talking about his car needed to be freed up as well. Now, great recovery by that team. 2 stops ago, they had an impact gun issue. It was leaking air out of the back, causing them to have a slow stop. Also a slow stop on the 12 of Ryan Blaney.
A slow stop for Blaney and Larry. Martin Truex did not choose to pit.
And he's the only one that chose not to pit. I don't know about that one.
Let's see what happens here. Oh, rear tire changer had a slip coming around, perhaps slipped on a little bit of spilled gas there. Jamie McMurray looks like he's done for the day. .88 laps to go. Here's the situation. Jamie McMurray is the 2nd car out of the race, joining Michael McDowell. Martin Truex Jr. was told on the radio, do whatever the other leaders don't do. So he stayed out. His tires have 10 more green flag laps on them than the other leaders. Joey Logano took 2 tires. Everybody else took 4 tires. And there's overheating. Brad Keselowski, not his car. Brad.
Look at the racing. The squirrel back here. This is ridiculous. So I'm going to start wrecking people. This is out of control. I'll give my teammate for who it is. These guys.
Yikes.
Yeah, pass that along to everybody else, will you?
That's pretty out of character for Brad Keselowski.
Oh, he seems
Rarely
very
do you hear
upset.
him get that animated.
He's really upset.
But we did hear him earlier talking about being in traffic and how it's affecting his car. So, I think he's wanting clean air really badly right now. And when he's having to race some of these guys as hard as they're racing him back, making it very difficult to achieve that.
.87 laps to go in this one, and varying strategies in play. So now, a quick word from Duracell.
This is the #1 trusted brand.
We're going to tie this into our race trends right here, and this will be the power to the finish. The average of the last caution flag, not that late in the race here the last 10 times at Las Vegas, normally 31 laps to go. I would normally say what will win this race is setting up for short runs and long runs, but it looks like to me, if you want to power to the finish and win this race, you better be strong on the long run.
So Joey Logano again with quick pit work has put him up into second place once again. Vince?
Yeah, on a 2-tire strategy there. He's led 13 laps so far today. Of course, Logano always wants to be fast on track, but impactful off the track. And through his foundation this weekend, joining Joey Logano's kids crew is Julio Garcia Gil. He's 10 years old, living with muscular dystrophy, and he's Joey's special guest this weekend. He was recognized at Logano's foundation event last night with a standing ovation, not a dry eye in the house. So many drivers through their foundations doing good things. So often we don't hear about them, but they are really having an impact, and good to see that from Logano. Big smiles on the face of Julio yesterday.
Julio at the drivers' meeting this morning. Having a great time here at the race.
Mike, these guys, all these drivers, NASCAR in general, do such an incredible job with all the charities and everything that they get involved in. The military, it's an honor to be a part of this sport.
So here's your restart. Martin Truex with tires that have 10 more green flag laps on them than Joey Logano's lefts. Joey has new rights. Everybody behind him has 4 new tires. What's that going to mean?
Well, here's what I think it's going to mean. You've got 4 tires on an aggressive Kyle Busch in that 3rd position. When they go to take off, if Truex has any issues with wheel spin, look for Kyle Busch to take advantage of that inside lane.
Packed in field and motorhome row on the backstretch and into turn 3 at Las Vegas. From our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours from Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR.
Mike, Jeff, I think you have to agree that 22 has done an amazing job of turning their seat. They last year they struggled. This year he and I think Hamlin are only 2 that finished in the top 10 these first 2 races. So they really made a great comeback.
He's our points leader right now.
Nice crowd on hand in Las Vegas as the green flag waves, and Martin Truex got a half car length jump, but Logano's right even with him, headed for 1.
This is where those 2 tires are going to pay off, and then the 4 tires of the 4 Kevin Harvick coming fast. Kyle Larson further back, making him 3 wide, working that outside lane.
About 6 wide right now, going down the back there. Holy smoly.
Boy, that staying out for Truex is not.
Oh, trouble! Kurt Busch around hard into the wall after contact from Chase Elliott.
Wow.
And once again, cautions.
Breed cautions.
Yeah.
Chase, poor Chase, he had nowhere to go. 41 in the wall right in front of him, and of course he plowed right into him.
Now, Martin Truex was trying to get down and out of the way of the cars on new tires.
He was struggling on those old tires. You can see the closing rate. Paul Menard comes right to his rear bumper.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Ooh, the 41 looked like he pushed loose, and it's shot into the wall in front of Chase Elliott.
Yeah, he just lost grip and shot right into Chase Elliott.
You know what that 78's going to be doing, don't you? He's going to be shooting down pit road.
4 tires.
Let's ride with Chase Elliott.
He's there. Oh, what the hell?
Well, that's what we said.
That's about all you can say.
I mean, Kurt Busch comes up out of nowhere, just like that.
It's just the slightest little bobble with the rear tires, and he tried to correct, and Chase Elliott was right on his outside.
I don't know what happened there, man. He just came wide open on the track. Lost control of his car. Carried too much speed.
That was Chase Elliott and spotter Eddie DeHaan. And Kurt Busch will not win in his hometown this year. Jamie.
And Kurt's only radio talk was, well, it just came around on me. So he got loose and lost it. So we'll hear from him momentarily, guys.
Yeah, Jamie, that thing just snapped. I mean, he was coming off the corner, and it just got, like, quick loose and then dead to the right into front of Chase Elliott.
And I actually think he would have saved the car had Chase Elliott not been right on his right side, and it just
Well, let's take another look at it here.
I think this happened so quick. I mean, the car just really snapped loose.
But, you know, this is a sign of how on the edge these drivers are, especially on these restarts. Low pressures, trying to push, and you can just see the 41, the back steps out, he corrects, the nose takes off over into the side of the 9 of Chase Elliott.
And Jeff, I think you might be right. I think the 9 hadn't have been there, he might have been able to catch that thing before it hit the wall, or maybe just touch the wall. But when the 9 was already there, nothing he couldn't do anything.
Eric Almirola made a nice evasive move, or he would have been right in the midst of it.
Well, that's too bad. Chase having a great run, the best run of the Hendrick cars. Tough to see that, and so Kurt was too. So two great cars out of the race.
82 laps to go, and we're under caution for this in Las Vegas. Under caution for Chase Elliott and Kurt Busch's crash at lap 183. 80 laps to go in Las Vegas. Let's have a look at today's Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Well, our pole sitter Ryan Blaney obviously has a very fast race car. He's coming off of back-to-back top 10s here at Las Vegas and putting together a really solid race so far. I think he could take advantage and get this win today.
Yeah, Jeff, Joey Logano had a dismal 2017, but boy, what a start to this season. 2 top 10 finishes, our points leader. Been a long time since he went to victory lane. I think it may happen here today at Las Vegas.
You know, I'd like to give you a lot of statistics about why I think Kevin Harvick will win this race. Just take the last 2 races. He led the most laps at Atlanta. He's led the most laps today. He went to victory circle at Atlanta. I know this in Atlanta. He's going to win Vegas.
Well, I'm looking at Kyle Busch, Darrell, because he just ran his fastest lap of the race. That means they've made that car better and better, and I think he charged to the victory. Remember, a year ago post-race, he was covered in blood, looked like he'd have been in the octagon. Today, I think he ends in winner's circle, covered in champagne.
Cole Pearn is a gambler. He gambled on no tires, and that didn't work very well. So now he's going to get 4. If you're going to gamble, you must have a really good car. Martin Truex Jr. could well repeat winning here today. Vince?
Well, and Mike, he is in right now. Truex is coming to get those 4 tires. That should put him on a little more level playing field. They have had the speed, have still been looking for the sweet spot on the balance, but it's been a rock-solid car again here today. The winner here a year ago.
Pit stop's complete. Kurt Busch takes out Chase Elliott when his car just gets away from him. That put us under this caution.
Under caution in Las Vegas, you're watching NASCAR on Fox, and time for an Outback Steakhouse race break. And a quick recap, a race that took one lap for Kevin Harvick to pick up where he left off from Atlanta, passing the pole sitter Ryan Blaney. Went on to lead a Vegas record 72 consecutive laps. Jimmy Johnson, unfamiliar territory, going a lap down on the first 50 laps. Still struggling. Harvick winning stages 1 and stage 2. When we get into the final stretch, 91 laps to go. Jamie McMurray into the wall. Then 84 laps to go. Kurt Busch, who's never won here in Las Vegas native, gets into Chase Elliott. And it brought out the most recent caution here as Logano leads Harvick and Blaney at the moment. Let's check in with Jamie Little, who is with Chase Elliott.
And Chase had a good day going. He was the best Hendrick car all weekend long. You've been checked and released. You had a word with Kurt. What happened there?
Yeah, I think he just got loose on the bottom there, and I was unfortunately the guy that was up top. So we were just trying to, be solid today and make the most of what our Napa Camaro had, and I thought we were doing a pretty good job of that. Kind of like what we did last week, just trying to get a little better. So just kind of there at the wrong spot in the wrong situation and headed home early.
Glad that he's okay. With Michael Waltrip here, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel. First of all, keeping an eye on Jimmy Johnson, who, with that last caution, got a lap back.
Yeah, and he was struggling severely at the start of the race, Chris, but I've been impressed. We've been listening to his radio back and forth with Chad Canals, and they think they're getting that car pretty close. A little bit of body damage, but he's rallied. He got the free pass. He's in 13th position right now. Don't be surprised if 07 time doesn't come away with a top 10 finish.
Yeah, it's been 2010 since he won here in Vegas. He does have the most Las Vegas wins at 4. As we mentioned, Kurt Busch still winless in Las Vegas. Let's listen in for him.
And Kurt Busch had a top 10 day going today. They were working on the car, making some decent adjustments. And what happened there, Kurt?
I was running a low groove, and it just stepped out on me. I mean, I wasn't even trying to fill the hole or go 100%, and I had it at 90%. I knew Chase was going to be on my outside, and, I mean, just that quick. You're back there in the dirty air, but, man, turn 4, I always know that it's slick, and I wasn't even pushing through there, and it stepped out on me. Ruined his day, ruined our day, so I hate it for all the Chase Elliott fans and Kurt Busch fans and my hometown fans. I just wasn't even pushing hard. I knew we had one more stop, and then we were going to go. But just stepped out on me. It's just ridiculous.
Kurt Busch will have to wait one more year to see if he can win at his home track, Chris.
Yeah, seems really, really disappointed. 76 laps to go. His brother Kyle, who you think has a chance to win this race, who does have a victory here in Las Vegas. Why? With 3 Fords in front of him.
Just listening to the adjustments they've made, he loves his car right now. I think he's going to be able to challenge those 3 Fords, and that's what the story of the last couple weeks has been, the dominance of the Fords. And I find that so interesting because last year we were talking about how they were struggling. They started 2018, and they are spot on.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin last week said, hey, Fords have an unfair advantage. When they ended the year, it was the other way around, in the words of Brad Keselowski. Had some interesting words earlier, but let's listen to Joey Logano. He has a 29-race winless string going here. He's your leader at the moment. Listen in on the radio.
Tell you what, I kind of like that top. What do you think? I think the old tires made you look good there. I was thinking it's easier to hold the car off if I don't clear them on the outside. That's a thought.
And that's the game. That's the game these guys are playing, Chris. They're trying to understand how they can get the most grip on initial acceleration. These cars have a lot of horsepower. It wants to spin those rear tires, especially when you've got used tires on. So just some discussion there. He thinks the high side might be better. We've seen the low side working well so far.
And in the third race of the season, in the bigger picture, we've had, certainly a young driver, a guy in his 20s like Austin Dillon win, and also we've had Kevin Harvick at age 42 when Harvick called Joey Logano a tweener. Somebody who's in his late 20s. More than half the field in today's race under the age of 30.
Yeah, and no championships for any of those drivers, the young guys. All the wins and most of the wins and all the championships are represented from the 30 and over gang. So Joey Logano, he's a kid, but you want to count him as a veteran. He's just been around so long.
But Harvick right behind him. That's the story from here. Don't forget to claim your free Bloomin' Onion on Mondays if Kevin Harvick places in the top 10. Again, currently second, trying to win back-to-back races. Let's rejoin Daryl, Jeff, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. It'll be 74 to go when they get to the line, and here's the situation. The first 9 cars all stopped at lap 177. Positions 10 through 13 stopped during this caution for 4 tires. That's Truex, Almirola, Ryan Newman, and Jimmy Johnson. So they'll be firing out of that fifth row on back with 4 fresh ones.
Well, it's not just 4 tires, Mike, but they had the opportunity to make some adjustments. We hear about not making adjustments on a 4-tire stop when you're trying to beat other cars off pit road. They weren't as focused on that. So you give Cole Pern and Chad Knaus and some of these guys, some time to make some major adjustments, they could really turn their performance around.
There's Cole Pern.
Next week, we duel in the desert in Phoenix. And great seats are still available. Tickets start at just $30. And it's your last chance to see the race in this track configuration. They're going to move the start-finish line over near the dogleg off turn 2. What is now turn 2 will be turn 4 beginning in November. So the traditional layout of Phoenix Raceway gets its last race next weekend. You'll want to join us there.
Mike, I hope that Joey Logano didn't get himself fooled. He took 2 tires, but the 78 took no tires. And Logano thought he had a heck of an advantage starting up on the outside. I don't know if those 4 tires that Harvick has, or I don't know if Logano's 2 are going to have any match for the 4 of Harvick once they get going here.
I don't know if he took 6 or 8, but it was going to be a match for Kevin Harvick.
I think those 2 tires are going to fool him.
Jimmie Johnson back on the lead lap with the free pass. That gives us 13 lead lap cars as they come to the restart. It'll be 73 laps to go. Logano is the leader. He fires off and gets a good jump on Harvick. Down below the line comes Kyle Larson and Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, that's legal, Mike. I mean, down below the, once you start past the start-finish line, you can go on the apron here. So that was a legal move. Almost turned out to be an illegal result, though.
Yeah, big heads-up move by Kyle Larson to know that move was coming.
Well, the inside was the lane that went. Here is Harvick and Ryan Blaney. 3 Penske cars.
Look at Truex. Look how much Truex has gained on this group already with those 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, I think Logano's going to be the one that's going to realize that those 2 tires probably not going to be the way to go here in just a little bit.
Yeah, Truex lucked out that caution came out when it did, so they could come in. He was going to go really far back, possibly lose a lap if this thing had gone green long enough. But Cole Pern and those guys were able to get 4 tires, and now he's blowing by cars.
He's charging. He's charging to the front.
Looking for 6th place is Martin Truex. Into the glare down in turn 1, passes Paul Menard. And for 10th place, teammates Austin Dillon and Ryan Newman.
I think 88's a lap down, but still, great race right here.
Yep. Bowman, first car 1 lap down.
Yeah, fighting for that free pass if this caution comes out. Get back on the lead lap like Newman did, like Jimmie Johnson did.
Paul Menard 7th, under fire from Eric Jones.
Paul just doing a solid job in the 21 car. I mean, nothing fancy. That's kind of Paul Menard's style, just hanging in there and holding his own.
Vince, what's up with the 78?
Well, they put those 4 fresh tires on, but all of a sudden Martin Truex says he's got a significant vibration. So keep an eye on the 78, see if that develops into something bigger.
They had an equalized tire in qualifying where the inner liner, some of that pressure bled out into the outer tire. They managed to replace that, but they had issues with other wheels as well as far as equalizing tires was concerned. So hopefully that's not the problem now.
Yeah, and if it's an equalized tire, it's going to be a consistent vibration. If it's a loose wheel, it's going to continue to get worse and worse, and that'll be the signal to come in and get tires.
Yeah, and remember earlier, they didn't get the car full of fuel, so they're having some issues in the pits that they better get resolved pretty quick here if they're going to win this race.
Kyle Busch 6th, Brad Keselowski 7th. Last time, Keselowski with a big dive into turn number 3 against the 18. Looks like Kyle's going to hold that spot. Jimmie Johnson, last car on the lead lap in 13th. With 67 to go. As they come off turn number 4, a nice sunny Sunday. Fox NASCAR, crank it up.
Still down there, quarter. No bumper, all clear. Yeah, you pulled on the car, anything good job. It's good on the bottom there if you need it. Run in front. Run in front. Very low. All clear. This is 18. Run in front. All clear. Very low. Still there. Still out there. Keep coming. Keep coming. Come on. Get up. Get up. Get up. You're good. You're good. Back out there. Just get by. Still way out there. Still going to be there. Still there. Just get by 4. Clear.
59 to go with Kevin Harvick leading Ryan Blaney by 2.2. Eric Almirola just jumped up into the top 10 with a pass of Austin Dillon. And let's go back to that restart and take a look at today's clean pass presented by Tide. Joey Logano on the outside with those 2 tires. No match for Kevin Harvick on the restart. That's today's Tide clean pass.
These guys are having a heck of a race
they're
right
battling.
Here. They're going at each other.
Obviously, Truex not having any issues with that vibration we heard him talk about.
Of that group, Truex is the one car that's matching lap times with our leader, Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, a little bit fresher tires. I mean, Harvick only had maybe 1 or 2 laps on those 4 tires when he took them, but a little bit fresher tires on Truex.
I'd really like to see this 42 car get up on that outside on both ends of the track. Hey,
Larson able to take advantage of Jeffrey Earnhardt being a little bit slower in front of Logano. He's going to complete that pass.
Last year we always talked about the 42 being the rim rider. I think he's really worked hard this year to make his car work around the bottom of the racetrack. Because really and truly, we haven't seen him rim ride a whole lot. You got to see this forward, Mike.
Yeah, you can
see the lap car as a pick.
Logano trying to time it just right to carry as much momentum off the corner as possible, but comes up a little sooner than he anticipated on the 0-0, Jeffrey Earnhardt.
Vince?
Well, Darrell, that was a good observation because that's one of the things that Kyle Larson has been working on. And in fact, he told me before the race today when I was talking to him about running the bumps down in 1 and 2, whether he's going to run over the top of them or how he was going to approach them. And he said, if the car is running the best, it'll be on the bottom. That's how you'll know whether it's really good or not. So that's why we've seen Larson on the bottom quite a bit today, because that car has been good. Not so good on pit road. They've lost him about 8 spots in the last 2 stops, but he has been good on track.
Yes, he has. Martin Truex is coming. He's coming after Joey Logano for 4th place. Kyle Busch behind him.
I think Michael mentioned that they have really made that 18 car better on every stop, and he's a guy that he'd like to win this at this track too. It's his home track too.
I just think Kyle Busch doesn't have the short run speed. He seems to really have the long run speed. So if this thing goes green flag for a long time.
Well, the 18 just whistled past Truex on the back straightaway. Got a great run off turn 2.
He's got that high line working pretty good. Mike gets a lot of momentum off the corner and comes down the straightaway. Going to make a move
I was going to say he's going to pick up another
22
one.
right here.
Very tight.
Yeah.
Remember, these guys have history.
And it's not pretty. So Truex takes advantage. Momentarily.
You see, to me, right there, Kyle Busch cut Joey Logano some slack. He's not going to do it this time off of turn 2, 3 wide.
Big windup coming off turn 2.
Oh, guys, that's a year ago. Come on. You don't think they would? You think they'd still have that in the back of their mind?
How quickly we forget. Drivers don't forget, right?
There's some things you don't forget.
Now let's review. Now here's a look at it from 2017. They were having a nice chat during pre-race. Then this happened. Then this happened.
And then.
And I really don't think that was intentional. It was just really aggressive racing at the end. But I don't think Kyle Busch felt that way.
Nope.
I think that just tells you how important it is for Kyle Busch and his brother Kurt to be successful at this racetrack. This is their home track.
Wow, Brad Keselowski is in as the pit window opens.
I like the way he and Paul Wolf think. They're going to do something a little bit different than everybody else.
Watch him coming on a pit road here. Heavy braking.
A little loose in initial braking. Carried a lot of speed.
And here's the stop, Matt.
Keselowski telling Paul Wolf, I know we have a really good car. I just cannot get myself in the right position to take advantage of it. His biggest issue, the car way too free on entry. And that's just what's holding him up on the racetrack of trying to make up time. And he's away.
You know, guys, I really thought these teams would do what they did in the earlier part of the race, split the stage in half, and that way they would pit somewhere around 30 to 35 to go. But I just feel like that Paul Wolf and Brad Keselowski said, you know what, 50 to go, we can make it to the end easily with a little in the bank. We're going to get off sequence here. We're going to try something different.
I just like the way they think.
Yep. How else do you beat Kevin Harvick? Unless you go off sequence.
Take some chances, take some big risks.
All right, top of the day, Darrell said the winning car would have a 4 on it on our racing roulette felt table. You put your money on 4. There are 2 cars with a 4, led, of course, by this one. Jeff took the 2s with Keselowski pitting. There's 5 cars in the top 10 with a 2 in their number. I took the 8s. There's 2 of those. Place your bets, everybody. Now, how about Bert and Ernie's computer? Bernie is their computer modeled prediction of the top 10. At the end of stage 1, Bernie had 9 of the top 10 correctly, not in exact order. But here are Bernie's top 10 for the race. And on the right is where they are running right now. Remember, Brad Keselowski just made a pit stop.
Yeah, and Chase Elliott and Kurt Busch were in that accident. So Bernie was looking really good there for a while.
.46 laps to go. If we have more green flag pit stops, you'll see them as we go side by side.
Toyota, let's go places.
This is No Limits Texas, sacred ground. These are the chosen, the anointed, the children of history selected for greatness by the finger of power. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Jimmy Johnson. Speed, danger, fun. The O'Reilly Auto Parts 500, Sunday, April 8th. 2 tickets for as low as $99. TexasMotorspeedway.com.
Biscuit, biscuit, biscuit. 2 pieces of chicken. Mashed potatoes. Cookie and a drink. All available at KFC for just $5. It's finger-licking good.
My burger goes best with mustard.
Ketchup and mustard.
Grass-fed beef.
No, corn-fed.
On the grill.
Now, flat top.
Iceberg lettuce.
Nah, arugula. Jalapeno.
No way. Avocado, dude.
Medium rare. Gotta be well done. Brioche.
Sesame seed.
American cheese.
Cheddar.
Can I have a turkey burger? What? Turkeys are for Thanksgiving, man. I like my burger with the Coke.
I'll agree to that. Strictly with the Coke.
Only with the Coke.
Coke and a burger. Come on.
All right.
That's where you get the flavor.
You got to be closer to the edge than ever to win.
Here we go.
That means sometimes you go over the edge. That's from Dale Sr. I do live on the edge. I race on the edge.
I've got chills at my spine.
This season, who will rise to the top?
.41 laps to go. All the green flag pit stops that you just saw in our Fox side-by-side coverage have put Kyle Busch into the lead. He was last in at lap 177. Martin Truex now second. Denny Hamlin and Alex Bowman have also not stopped. Vince?
Well, the 42 of Kyle Larson wasn't planning to stop when he did, but he developed a vibration. And when he first told crew chief Chad Johnson, I've got a slight vibration, Chad said, well, let me know if it gets worse. Kyle came on the radio less than a minute later, and he said, it's getting worse. And they wasted no time. They brought him right in and changed 4 tires.
He is back out in 9th place. Busch and Truex have the whole field a lap down. And we'll see if we see the race leader, Busch or Truex, next time by.
18 hit it off in turn 1. I think we got to see him. And Larry, you think he'll come in next time by or a couple laps?
Well,
18?
They're losing so much time, but to Mike's point, Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr., they got everybody a lap down. If we get a caution, they're going to force everybody to have to pit because of the number of laps on their tires. So they're kind of in a good spot right now. It's not going to be a race winning move unless we get a caution.
Truex coming to pit road.
78's in. Kyle Busch stays out.
But with the wave around and everything else, I wouldn't want to be just 1 or 2 guys that were left out there.
But remember, to take the wave around, you can't come in and get tires. You have to stay out on the racetrack if there's a caution.
Good point.
Hey, remember earlier we told you that Martin Truex Jr. reported a vibration. He thinks that the right rear had too much air in it. He said that's where he felt the vibration, and it never went away. So they're looking forward to getting 4 fresh Goodyear tires on this 78 machine. See if he's got enough to get it to the finish.
All right, full tank of Sunoco race fuel, and they're back out. And here comes Kyle Busch. He will surrender the lead, which will cycle back to Kevin Harvick. Here's Matt.
37 laps to go, and Kyle Busch stops deep in his box. The gas man had to take a few extra steps to catch up to the race car. The only complaint Kyle had about the 18 on this last run was it was more on the tight side than it had been the previous run. Lugs are on, he's away.
I say some of that tightness maybe coming from the, we're later in the afternoon, the track's cooling down a little bit. Probably cooling the track down, making the cars a little tighter.
So now the only cars that have not stopped: Denny Hamlin in 2nd, Alex Bowman in 7th, Clint Boyer in 11th, Casey Kane in 14th, and Daniel Suarez in 18th among the top 20.
I watched this guy right here, the 11 car. He's run the longest race of anybody. He's been up around that wall all day long. From the drop of the green, he's been riding the wall.
Now Brad Keselowski is 2nd. He came in back at lap 217. So more laps on his tires, but
what he really has to have, he needs a caution. He's got 7 more laps on his tires. We get a caution right now, it's going to be feeding time again on pit road.
Right.
Yeah, tremendous amount of fall off this year. I don't know if it's a combination of the tire, the conditions, and the cars and the amount of downforce they have this year, but I haven't seen this much fall off in these lap times here at Vegas in a long time.
Just think back to earlier in the race there when we had a caution. The 78 stayed out and the 22 got 2 tires. 78 went straight to the back.
Here's your Busch race summary with 35 to go. Kevin Harvick has led 179 laps, second most all time here. First of 17 cars on the lead lap. He's one of 6 leaders, 11 lead changers, 4 caution flags, counting the 2 end stages. Harvick won both stages. You know, the only driver ever to lead more laps at Las Vegas than Kevin Harvick? Jeff Gordon in 2010.
Hey,
how about that?
Who finished third?
I was going to say, how'd that work out for me?
Third place. You led 219 laps. Whoops.
Boy, that was a lot of fuel pouring out that gas can.
So Joey Gase, who is 11 laps back. Off track, Gray Galding, Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, Jamie McMurray, Michael McDowell. The attrition here much higher than Atlanta, when I think all but 1 or 2 cars were running at the finish.
Yeah, you know, when you lead that many laps, there's nothing other than a win that really you're going to be content with. So, but it just shows you anything can happen in these races. A caution can come out at any time. Things on pit road can happen, get you a little bit behind. There's no guarantees when you lead this many laps that you're going to win the race.
Well, your record will stand because the most Harvick could lead today is 2:15, Matt.
And the Atlanta win, Jeff, actually was his only win the last 8 times, leading the most laps. Right now, Harvick's trying to chase his 5th back-to-back victory. The last time it was actually Las Vegas and Phoenix back in 2015. And you can always tell when Kevin Harvick's car is near perfect, you could combine all the words and sentences that he has said today, and you might get 2 sentences. Very quiet, no changes on the last stop.
Wow, 3 wide for 6th. Who in that group has the freshest tires? Truex. There he goes.
I think Logano's going to fight him pretty hard here, but not going to be enough.
Yeah, 78 had the bottom lane. He's got a good bit of speed in that car right now, and he's moving forward.
10 seconds behind the leader, running pretty identical lap times to Kevin Harvick right now.
Yeah, again, I go back. I really believe that Cole Pearn made some adjustments on that car for Martin Truex Jr. I think he has a good race car. He just doesn't have the track position right now. He needs to get closer to Kevin Harvick to show if he can battle with them.
I really think the track is cooling down. I don't know what the track temp is, but I think the track's cooled down. It's helped some of these guys quite a bit.
4th place. Kyle Busch getting aggressive against Kyle Larson. Here's the Kyle and Kyle show.
You see that?
Got a run.
Yeah, big run off the top. A little bit of a bobble and a little loose for the 42 Larson. Just carries that momentum to the inside lane and makes the pass into turn 1.
Kyle Busch, first Toyota in the race in 4th. Kyle Larson, the first Chevrolet, in 5th. The front 3 are all Fords, just like we started the day. Players a little different. Harvick, Keselowski, Blaney now.
Well, remember, I think it was Keselowski had this race won, and he had a hub failure. Remember, and I think that's how Truex actually ended up winning the race. So that 2 car has been really good here through the last 3 or 4 years. I think he won 14, 16, and could be 18.
Now, Brad Keselowski in 2nd right now has the most laps on his tires of all the leaders. You have to go back to Hamlin, who has 40 laps on his, to find anybody with more laps on them than the 2.
Larson definitely struggling a little bit with the handling. He's lost some time to our leader and really kind of getting grasped up by some of those right around him. We saw Kyle Busch go by. Truex is right there also.
Truex in 6th, Joey Logano 7th. Strong day for Paul Menard, who was fastest in round 1 of knockout qualifying here Friday.
It's nice and steady. It's one thing I've always admired about Paul. He just kind of does his thing, minds his manners, and gets a nice finish.
Eric Jones in 9th, and he gives Toyota. And his teammate Denny Hamlin has not yet made that pit stop, but holds on to a top 10 spot. 25 laps to go. If there are pit stops, you'll see him right here as we go side by side.
So Dave here is taking the family up to the lake for the weekend, but without the white knuckles this time. Because his new 2018 Ford F-150 has Bliss with trailer coverage. It's Brainiac smart. Not only does it watch your F-150's blind spots, it's got your trailer covered too. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck for 41 straight years. This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, pal. It is the bar.
Do you like big juicy steak? Do you like freshly steamed lobster? Do you like the word and? Then you'll love Outback Steak and Lobster. Backed by popular demand, only $15.99. So hurry in now. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules.
There's nothing better than baked empanadas.
Extra spicy mole. I'll talk tacos.
Chicken.
Carne asada.
I'll confess. Hard shell. Solo con Coca-Cola.
My tacos are best with the Coke.
In the West, drivers, tracks are filled with fortune.
That's where I found my first last year.
Checkers or wreckers, I say.
I like your optimism. You ready for your first?
You know it, hermano.
Suarez has the lead.
We'll have to get through me, though.
Here comes Jimmy Johnson.
All right, then. Let's strike gold, racers.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hi there, welcome into NASCAR Race Hub.
You see the biggest stars in the sport.
So I think we make this look pretty good.
They all play here.
Fun,
Fast,
fresh,
and always entertaining.
It's going to be a good one.
NASCAR Race Hub, weeknights on FS1.
Section PU 402, row 41.
Jimmy Johnson, the fastest gun in the West.
Section 104, row 4.
Blaney got his first win.
Section 25, row 3.
What a year for Bubba.
Section O, row 25.
Keselowski's going to win at Talladega.
Section 156, row 4.
Kurt Busch to the lead on the backstretch.
Section 233, row 1.
Martin Truex Jr.
wins.
You get a seat, but we doubt you'll ever use it. Grab your seats at NASCAR.com/tickets today.
Thanks to Pizza Hut's $7.99 large pizza deal, it's never been easier to bring everyone to the table. Get an oven-hot large pizza with 2 of your favorite toppings for just $7.99. That's right, $7.99. Because no one out-pizzas the Hut.
19 laps to go in Las Vegas. Stay with Fox after today's race for your first look at a new documentary, Billy Graham, An Extraordinary Journey. How a humble farmer's son became a minister renowned around the world. It premieres tonight at Fox after the race, 7 Eastern Time. Kyle Busch has climbed to second, and he is coming. He's 3 seconds back of Harvick. Last lap, Kyle was half a second faster than the leader, who got into a little bit of traffic. Now Harvick edges away just a bit.
Yeah, I just don't know how much that Harvick says saving. I think he's got a little in the bank. I don't think he's running at 100%, maybe 95. It'd be interesting to see if this 18 gets a little closer, if he picks it up or not.
Well, we know Kyle Busch, he's 110% right now as Alex Bowman comes to pit road.
Kyle Busch is chomping on them M&Ms right now.
So the number to watch is right there, and that is the difference between Harvick and Busch, and see if that number is growing or dropping.
Teammates here going at it. Blaney and Keselowski. Blaney makes the pass.
Now, finally, Denny Hamlin makes the pit stop. He's been out since lap 177. And finally, Denny Hamlin comes to pit road. Off-sequence strategy will put him a lap down. Same with Alex Bowman.
Hamlin's had a pretty good car today, Mike, but just not a winning car.
Bowman goes 2 down as he leaves pit road with 16 laps to go. Hamlin was waiting for a caution, which certainly would have kept him on the lead lap. It did not come. So this will be a necessary but costly stop.
And those tires, those older tires at Keselowski are finally starting to
catch up
really
to him.
catch up to him.
Larson around the outside and into 4th place. Eric Jones against Paul Menard for 8th. And now Larson looking at Ryan Blaney for 3rd.
Larson's like a switch. He really struggles at the early part of a run, and then it's like a switch goes off as he goes to the inside. Ryan Blaney, that's for 3rd position. And when that switch goes off, all of a sudden his car takes off.
Yeah, you remember the last time we were along green flag, he said, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden the car just came alive, and it's doing it again here, right here.
It is about 25 to 30 laps into a run. The car seems to really wake up. That's where we are right now with 14 laps to go. Kyle Busch that lap 2/10 faster than Kevin Harvick.
Oh, he's
cut the margin down below 3 seconds.
He's closing a little bit, Mike. You can see the distance between the two of them getting closer and closer.
But he's going to have to pick up 0.2 of a second every lap to catch Harvick by the finish.
Well, he just picked up 0.3 that last lap.
Denny Hamlin had a big slide. He is also now 2 laps down behind Boyer and Suarez and Buescher. Car sounds a little off song as it comes by.
Been kind of a frustrating day for him. You know, he's speeding penalty and he got behind, and then they've been trying to do something different to get back on the lead lap, and now in trouble out of the pit, sounds like.
18th place for Hamlin. Kevin Harvick's lead is shrinking. You see it right there on the left side on our scoring pylon. As Kyle Busch gets ever closer, that number keeps getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, but he just had to work. Harvick had to go by the 24, the 00, a couple other cars. He's clear sailing now. Now Kyle Busch has got to deal with those guys.
Now Jimmie Johnson started last, took advantage of a free pass on the caution at lap 183 to get back on the lead lap, and he is in the top dozen. That's not a win, but boy, that's a great recovery the way most of his day has gone.
Well, the way the last 25 races have gone, I think this is definitely going to be chalked up as a small victory.
Started out getting lapped at lap 33 after starting last due to inspection issues. Fought to stay just 1 lap down as we got to the end of the stage. and then battled with Ryan Newman for a free pass, which Newman hung on to at lap 176. Jimmy got one on the next caution.
That's how you build momentum, is put those kinds of runs together. Jamie?
What a day it's been for Jimmy Johnson and this team, as you guys just saw there. But earlier on in the race, he got into the wall, just brushed it, so he had right rear quarter panel damage. Then someone got into the left rear quarter panel, so the team has definitely been working on the car when he comes in. But guys, he's finished 38th and 27th the last 2 weeks. So like you said, not a win, but if he can finish where he's running now, it'll be a good day.
Thanks, Jamie. Here comes Martin Truex for 5th place against Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, right now, Brad's just hanging on.
He's fading with those tires.
Eight to go, and Brad's tires are 8 to 10 laps older than the rest of the race leaders.
And that is huge, Mike. It just fall off so much, and then you got 10 extra laps on your tires. It's just hard to overcome.
Now that said, Team Penske is now a 3-car team and looking for their first race in which all 3 cars finished in the top 10. Today could be that day. Jimmy Johnson now a lap down to Kevin Harvick, who now is stretching it out over Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I think it was a deceiving a little bit, Mike. Kevin got in traffic, and that allowed Kyle Busch to close a little bit. Now he's in clean air, and he's just sailing away. I don't know what the record is for leading the most laps here. I know you hold it, and we talked a minute ago, but it's going to be real, real close. When
it's going to be close, but he might get a victory into what he's doing.
Jeff led 2:19 in 2010. Harvick could lead, I believe it's 2:15.
So that'd probably be the most laps and winning the race.
Yes.
If he wins it, still got a few to go.
What happened to you that day?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe you
Sorry.
I finished 3rd. Yeah, I don't remember. Unless it was the win, I might have remembered that.
You got passed by your teammate Jimmy Johnson with 17 to go for the. Oh.
Yeah, I think Suarez had got a problem here with the.
Are you ready here?
Car sounded flat when it went by.
His and the 11. Interesting.
The car, not the tires.
No.
Now remember, they wanted to seal these engines and use these engines again later in the season. That's not going to happen if you got an engine problem, Jamie.
They ran it too long, out of fuel for the 19, so he coasted into his box.
Tried to get there, came up 4 laps short.
He was flat out of gas.
Oh, Truex was way down below the white line at start finish. Trying to beat Ryan Blaney for 4th place. Looked just like his pass of Brad Keselowski a bit ago. Truex, that is. A bottom feeder right on the white line.
I love watching the distinct differences in lanes from the high line and the momentum you see Blaney take with that high line to try to get back that position.
Now Blaney's going to try the bottom.
Oh, Blaney's going to fight him for it. He's not going to give it to him, I can tell you that. He's going to have to earn it.
Two to go. 2 to go, and then the pain will subside for 5 days for everybody not named Kevin Harvick as we regroup for Phoenix.
I'm telling you, and what do we know about Phoenix? He loves that joint.
Oh, good grief.
That's what the competition's saying. Good grief.
Here comes the white flag. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
I just don't know what more you can say about this dominant performance back to back. 2 in a row. Kevin Harvick's never won 3 in a row, so next week's going to be very interesting to watch.
Class remains in session. Kevin Harvick, Rodney Childers, Stewart Haas Racing, and Ford go to victory lane 2nd week in a row, winning the Pennzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube.
Great job. Thank you. job, man.
finish on the lead lap.
Good Lord, you're incredible. Can't drive a slow car fast, man. Thank you, guys. Things are fun to drive.
No, I'd even like to drive it. I wish I could drive it.
5 Fords, 1 Chevy, 3 Toyotas finish on the lead lap. Going to go back a ways for our 5-hour energy. Big move of the race. The restart. Joey Logano up high and 3 wide behind them through to Speedy Dry, and then giving the field the goodbye look. Kevin Harvick leads 214 laps, most ever by a Vegas winner. And Kevin Harvick taking home the checkered flag is today's Sunoco fueling victory. 39th career win, tied for 19th all-time with Hall of Famer Tim Flock and Matt Kenseth. 5th time he's gone back-to-back.
When he was in that ball of smoke, he just screamed with those burnouts. He said, "Where'd he go?" That's what the competition said all day. Where'd he go?
For the 13th time, Harvick has won on a 1.5-mile track. And it's his 10th season with multiple wins, and we're only 3 races in.
I think the thing is the dominance. Led the most laps last week, led the most laps today, and gets those wins like that. You don't see that every day.
You're going to have to watch this team, because now with 2 wins in the bank and headed for the playoffs, they've got nothing to lose.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear's superior performing tires to face challenging conditions on the track and on the road. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers, live from Las Vegas. And as we await Kevin Harvick celebrating in victory lane, let's check in first with the runner-up, Kyle Busch. He's standing by with Matt.
Chris, for Kyle Busch, it was a day of being wicked free and then other moments of being the opposite, super tight. Was this a patented day of just progressively working on it all day long to get it where you needed to have a shot?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our M&M's Camry was really strong there the last 100 laps of the race. Early on, just having to start the race on our qualifiers was just really bad for us, and then we over-tightened, over-adjusted for the second run, and then from there we were just kind of making small tweaks to it to get it back, and she was really fast, rolling really good the last 100 laps or so, and a lot of those guys would kind of short pit, and we'd go on the long side of it, and I think that kind of helped us too, be able to drive back up through those guys a little bit easier. But you know, the M&M's Caramel Camry was good, and Adam and the guys did a great job this weekend. We came here, we prepared well, and did a good job through practice, getting a great race car, and you know, that just no catching that 4. I mean, they were just on rails today, and they were lights out. So you know, I don't know what we need to do to catch up to get better to those guys, but you know, certainly we got some homework to do and to get a little bit better, especially here at Vegas. Some other places we go to, maybe we'll be a little bit closer. But overall, great day for us. We'll go to Phoenix.
Congratulations. Second place for Kyle Busch, Jamie.
Kyle Larson brings it home third. A good effort for you. But is there one place in particular that you feel like you guys could have been a little bit better to catch that 4?
Well, I don't know about catching the 4. You know, he was quite a bit faster than everybody, but I felt like for most of the day we were second or third best. Had to fight pretty hard there after a few bad pit stops. So, but you know, it's nice that we have, you know, really fast race cars, and if we can just clean up everything, I think we'll be you know, contending for more wins. So we're not too far off of a win, I don't think, but just got to keep working hard and keep fighting to get our Credit One Bank Chevy into victory lane.
Thanks, Kyle. Chris?
All right, thank you. And so much for the 2018 youth movement, at least in victory lane. 42-year-old savvy veteran Kevin Harvick back-to-back, not just wins, Michael Waltrip, but dominating his 100th career NASCAR victory, include trucks and then the Saturday series as well. And the celebration ties Tony Stewart for the most wins at Stewart-Haas Racing with 16. And let's go to victory lane.
Well, and Tony Stewart just gave him a big congratulations. Kevin, you've had seasons where you haven't led as many laps as you've led these last 2 weeks. What's it feel like to have a car so dominant 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah, just really proud of everybody on our Jimmy John's Busch Ford for just doing a great job with the race cars. And, you know, these last 2 weeks we've just hit on what we needed to. And really, this stems back to last year when Mile and a Half program got so much better at the end of the year. And you know, they've done their homework on a number of things. So just really proud of everybody. I got to thank everybody at Stewart Haas Racing, Jimmy John's, Busch, Ford, Mobile One, Outback, Hunt Brothers, Morton Buildings, Textron Off-Road, Liftmaster, everybody who makes this car go around the racetrack.
Over the 3 series in NASCAR, Trucks, Xfinity, Cup, you've now won 100 times. What's that mean to you?
That's pretty awesome. You know, they kind of brought that to light. I kind of had an idea of where we were, but it all happened so fast over the last couple of weeks. It really lets you reminisce about a lot of things that you've done in the sport, and when, you know, winning last week and being able to put some closure on 2001 in Atlanta, and then now winning 100 races is something that I never thought I would do, but they're hard to win, I can tell you that, and I've been fortunate to sit in a lot of good race cars.
Pretty cool. Well done.
One more thing. I want to say hi to my wife and son and daughter at home.
Ryan Blaney put together a solid weekend, a pole on Friday, and ran in the top 5 much of the day, and that's where you finished 5th. The track seemed to cool off about 8 degrees with about 20 laps to go. We caught a money cloud. Did that change your race car even more?
Yeah, a little bit. I thought the run before the last green flag stop there, we were pretty good. I thought that was our best run, and I got super tight there the last run when we lost some spots. But overall, a solid weekend for our team. Can't thank Menards and Pennzoil enough for doing what they do, and it's weekends we need. We need to have good, consistent weekends like this, and just keep, you know, clicking them off and gaining experience and doing what we need to do. So proud of this team for the effort this weekend. Hopefully we can carry it on here and finish the West Coast strong, and hopefully the rest of the season is like that too.
Looking to build on the momentum they've gained here in Las Vegas. Jamie?
Martin Truex Jr. brings it home 4th. You led 6 laps, and you overcame some pit issues early on. How would you sum up your day?
Well, we started 4th and finished 4th, so it looks pretty easy, but we did have a lot to overcome. We had a lot of stuff going on, and track position was the name of the game today. It was really, really hard to pass. We had some trouble on pit road a few times, you know, and we had a few runs where the car was off as well. So just, you know, just a tough day. We battled through it and came home with a good result. So proud of everybody on the Bass Pro 5-Hour Energy Camry, and looking forward to the next couple of weeks and see if we can't continue to chip away at it. Ford was pretty much in his own zip code again. That's 2 weeks in a row. So we got a little work to do, but definitely a good result for the day.
Thanks, Martin. Let's go back to Vince.
Well, in victory lane with a happy team owner, Tony Stewart, and you were photographer. You've done team owner. You're getting the video of Kevin coming out of the car. What's it feel like as a team owner to see your team progress to the level it has progressed, especially over these last couple of weeks?
Well, it's just nice to see Kevin and Rodney and this 4-car team back on form where they're used to being. So it's an awesome start to the year. It was an emotional win for Kevin last week, obviously, and you know that took a lot of the pressure off, getting locked into the chase. So to be able to do it back-to-back here 2 weeks in a row, it's really proud of these guys. You know, Jimmy Johns and Busch and everybody that supports this car. And all of our cars at SHR, just everybody at the shop's doing a great job. Our chassis department, our aero department, the fab shop. The fab shop, these guys are working extremely long hours, so I'm very grateful to our fab shop and body shop. They're doing an awesome job. Just really proud of everybody.
Well done. Congratulations. Kevin Harvick now with the most wins of any driver at Stewart Haas Racing.
And Kevin Harvick has won as many races in the first 3 races of this year as he has for all of last year. 2, and dominant performance. He second person ever to drive for the cycle. That means just win the stages and then win the race. Martin Truex was the first ever to do it last year, and then he did it at Kentucky.
Chris, I'm tired. I've never been beat as bad as I was today. If you're a race car driver, Kevin Harvick's fastest lap was over 0.4 of a second faster than the field. That would be the equivalent of me trying to race Usain Bolt in a 40-yard dash. I mean, it just wouldn't look good. And this car was on rails. I could see it in his eyes before the race. He said, "We've got a good car. I just hope this weather doesn't change it." Nothing changed it today. That was an amazing performance.
A 4-1, 5-1 favorite, depending upon when you placed money on Kevin Harvick. He was the favorite in this race. Remember, Las Vegas will be the first race of the 10-race playoff this year. Harvick has that on his mind, and we'll have more in a moment. From Bakersfield, California, he loves the Pacific time zone. Comfortable in 15 and 16. He was the winner of the West Coast Swing. He's off to a fast start. Kevin Harvick in his 4 Ford. In the last 2 races, he's led nearly 400 laps of the 600 laps available. So you know he's in the playoffs. You heard Tony Stewart, his owner, talking about it with the 2 wins on those playoff points. Helpful. Austin Dillon with the Daytona 500 win. Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers live here in Las Vegas as we look at the standings the rest of the way. And let's listen in. And Michael, you said earlier that Rodney Childers, this is right in his wheelhouse, this race with his driver, and Vince is standing by with him.
Rodney, the crew chief, and how good does it feel to see your driver out there driving a car that is so dominant, knowing that you guys prepared it to be as dominant as you did?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be happy with that. You know, going into these seasons, you never know what you're going to have. And honestly, I can't believe it's been this good the last couple of weeks. You just don't ever know. You work hard over the winters, and you don't know if it's going to be good or bad. But, you know, as long as we can bring good cars to racetrack, we'll try to ride this wave out best we can. But we got to keep working hard and hopefully be good later in the season.
Yeah, you hope it can be dominant, and then when you see it dominant, what a great feeling that must be. Congratulations, Rodney. Chris?
They make a great team, Vince, and made the adjustments. Kevin Harvick has never won 3 races in a row, but we're going to Phoenix where he has 8 wins, the best for him of any track. Hadn't been great lately in the victory column, but he runs well there. Could he get a 3rd straight?
I think it would be hard to bet against him here in Las Vegas because that team has been so good at Phoenix in the past. And the ISM Raceway is a track that suits Kevin Harvick's driving style. It's a short track with speeds like a super speedway, and he can run anywhere. I think you will make him the favorite before we get to Phoenix.
Now, we have a Ford and then Toyota Chevy finish here, 1, 2, 3, but we can't talk enough about how it ended last year with Ford feeling at a disadvantage, and everybody said, aside from Harvick being the favorite, that Ford, and Denny Hamlin joked last week, an unfair advantage. They have some advantage. Even Kyle Busch said we have some catching up to do.
Well, and I loved during the offseason some of the moves that NASCAR made in the inspection process. They changed the front splitter. That has a lot to do with the aerodynamic downforce in the front of the car, and then of course the new inspection station that they're going through. So I thought that would change the playing field. I felt like the Camaro would still be really fast and the Toyotas would, but I never would have guessed the Ford would outperform them.
And Kevin Harvick driving that Ford to victory back-to-back next Sunday. Can he do it in Phoenix? Remember, Ryan Newman was kind of the upset winner last year, and we'll see if somebody can stand up to Kevin Harvick. Don't forget Race Hub on FS1 weeknights at 6 o'clock Eastern. Coming up next on Fox, Billy Graham, An Extraordinary Journey, a never-before-seen documentary offering a unique look at how the legendary evangelist went from a humble farmer's son to a renowned minister. That's following us here from Las Vegas, where Kevin Harvick celebrates in Victory Lane. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great week, and thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox.